o letse le rona rara go kopa gape rara gore o phele le rona go ne kone dintho tla tsela phatsi modimo wa rona ra re kopa gore mo le rara o mo ne thata morena gore sengwe se tla se bua rara re mo retse le rona rara ba rotlhe ba mo parlamenteng rara ra kopa morena go le rona re mo retse mo le bitsong ya rara le ja mo ra bitshepo dina go sena mokutlo amen.
You may be seated. Khoi-San, I'm sure everybody has got the order paper in front of you. This is the sitting of the National House of Traditional and Khoi-San Leaders, date 28th October 2021, time supposed to start at 9 hours. But the challenge of sometimes the transport is always delaying us and other challenges which are known by the members. We are done with the prayer, roll call and apologies will be the roll call. I've got apologies from Bosi Petlu, Bosi Situmedi, Inkosi Mkachwa, Bosi Natengwe, who is supposed to join us virtually. Murena Muloi is there in the platform. Siyakwamkela nawe Murena. Bosi Nsangwisi, supposed to join us also virtually, but he has been deployed to deal with issues that affect the kingdom in KZN. I haven't received any other apology, but there may be some members who will be leaving earlier due to other commitments. The attendance register is circulating. Announcements from my side, I don't have any announcement except that this is the last day of our sitting. And I really appreciate that we've been together as members since we started, and we've been doing very well with few members because sometimes there may be challenges as we are faced with COVID-19, and we're still operating under those regulations. Let's make sure that we put on our masks properly, sanitize, social distancing. Also, wishing well when you'll be going for vote on the 1st, pleading with those political parties and those who are, everybody who's participating during the voting, be calm, make sure that you consider why are you having the voting day, because it's not about you, it is about the communities, which brings a question whether the killings of the people are still because of the interest in service delivery or protecting the communities, or is just personal. We are pleading with you, political parties, and those who are going to be standing there on their own, to make sure that the elections are free and fair. Let's proceed with our order paper. Today is the date for the debate for our report who have been tabled and which have been tabled by the chairpersons and those who were given that task yesterday. The purpose of tabling them before this day is for you to go through the reports so that today we don't go through the reports, we just talk on the issues of the reports. So I'm also pleading with you that you take a part in the debate. It's not only for that particular committee, as we know, they have done their job. The chairperson have done their job. So we are waiting for other members to comment or debate on those reports. Asilapha ke siza sithi thaca sithe thaca izolo ezingxelo zezicommittees. Esikulindeleyo namhlanje kukuba wonke umuntu athabathe inxaxheba kumalungu ekuxoxeni ezi report ezingxelo. Ngoba umsebenzi sowenziwe ngosihlalo nekomiti ezo ngosihlalo bezokomiti, ngoku thina masixoxe sibancedise ekuphuhliseni oko banqwenela bakuphumelela, kuba ii-committees indlu lena ayoyindlu yekomiti, yindlu yethu sonke, simele namaphondo onke. So ke ndizawuthi xa siqalisa ukuxoxa ezingxoxo ndicele into kokuba angasikhokhela usihlalo wekomiti okanye that person who has been given that task, that's to lead the debate, and then we follow suit as members. We'll start with the internal arrangements, planning and cooperative governance committee. The chairperson is Khoi-San, who is not part of us today. We know that Tkla has been given that task to lead the committee report. Over to you, Khoi-San.
On a matter of exigency, may I stand to remind the House that the report for Invest Rural was tabled yesterday. It does not form part of the program of the order paper. May we agree and allow that it be added as 5.8? So I please, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Nkosi Ngonyama. Any seconder to that proposal? Khasiboni?
I simply second Nkosi Ngonyama.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nkosi Ngonyama, for reminding us, because we only decided yesterday that this report must be part of other reports. Thank you very much. We may proceed, Khoi-San.
Oh, kya leboga modulasetilo ke tse tšhono go dumedisa modulasetilo khuduthamaga ya ntlo maloko a ntlo otlhe badira mmusong le tlhogo ya bone. Modulasetilo ke ha go tla go presenta reporto ya Internal Arrangement Planning and Cooperative Governance Committee. Mo first page ha o lebella background re tlhalosa thata gore re ntse re dira ka tlase ga maemo a aparetseng lehatshe lotlhe a COVID, mme seo ga sa ka sa emisa tiro ya komiti, se dirile hela gore e dire ka bonya ka ntlha gore dikopano di sa kgone go tsena ka mokgwa o tshwantse di tsene ka one, mme ka lesego go na le maranyane a leng teng go tswa mo saeteng ya administration. So some of the meetings re ntse re di tsena ka virtually. Ha re ya ko page 2 modulasetilo, committee quarterly report program number 1, workshop on traditional leaders on TKLA and Customary Initiation Act, which are both new acts. The workshops will be conducted in the next quarter. The committee recommended that any training identified by the committees of the National House must be submitted to the Planning Committee, particularly because the committee is responsible for all training needs of all the committees within the House. Number 2, Annual Performance Plan 2021-2022, Strategic Plan. The committee developed a 5-year strategic plan of the NHTKL and the NHTKL Annual Performance Plan 2021-2022. Both plans were approved by the sitting of the NHTKL on the 26th of August 2021. The plans are in line with the provisions of the TKLA. The NHTKL will henceforth appear before the portfolio and select committees to account on the performance of the House based on the APP agreed upon by the House. Number 3, committee forums, sharing of committee reports and best practices. On the 5th of October 2021, the committee recommended that the committee forums should be reviewed as a vehicle for information sharing and best practices. Chairperson, remember, I think in the previous terms, there were these forums whereby the National House was able to interact much better with the committees in the provincial houses. So, because we have been experiencing difficulties with engaging with our provincial counterparts in all these various committees, we have taken a decision that those forums must be revived so that we can regularly inform the provinces what we are doing through committees and also understand what they are doing so that there can be, some form of uniformity within the institution. On page number 5, the work that needs to be done, the APP for the next financial year needs to be done. The development of training program of the House, adequate capacitation of traditional leaders on Invest Rural as well as developmental monarchs. Work is continuing to be done there. And then joint activities with other NHTKL members. Members of the IAP CGC participated in the following NHTKL activities. Khoi-San, Khoi-San, and Nkosi Gumete participated in the activities of the Invest Rural program that is led by Princess G. Moroka Mutsabi in partnership with the Musiamis Rural Development Program and Provincial Houses of Traditional Leaders. Recommendation, Chairperson, it is recommended that the Quarter considers the quarterly report of the internal arrangement planning and also the sitting of the House. Thank you.
Thank you, Khoi-San. Now it is time for debate. I will see your hands to raise your issues on the committee. You can even acknowledge the work done by the committee. Nkosi Ngonyama.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Acting Chair of the House. We appreciate the report that is being tabled, though he wants us to adopt his report. Maybe he's still going to make that call. I believe so. I would like to start with item 1, the workshop of traditional or royal leaders on the TKLA. Chair, it is a common cause that we were informed as the royalty that there is a company that was appointed, that is PricewaterhouseCoopers, being led by Professor Mchunu, to undertake the process of training the royal leaders or taking through the royal leaders through this act. So I'm not sure. In fact, what has happened is that I've learned when people, especially from the provinces, when they do things, they will say we are taking a lead from the national house or nationally. That's how they put it. My problem is that we haven't been taken through this process as the national house. I'm led to believe that in some provinces, this exercise has been undertaken. I wish to place it on record that in the Eastern Cape, asifumananga, and singayifumananga njena, we are legislatively the members of the National House, besides being the members of the provincial house. So it means now that it is not conducted in the Eastern Cape and it is not conducted in the National House, we are left behind as that particular province, which I think it is not fair. So what is it exactly that is going to happen in as far as this training is concerned, not by the very same company that has trained all the other provinces. So that's number one. And again, what is also of a serious and grave concern is that we are also led to believe that the contract of that company has expired. It expired during this month, this month of October. So I'm not sure we can also be told whether it is going to be extended to accommodate the National House as well as the provinces that have not been taken through this process. This is very critical because there are areas in the very same piece of legislation that are very problematic, and we don't understand. We understand izinto piece by bit by bit, but openly what is it that is entailed in this process or this piece of legislation. That's number one. On the issue of training, we appreciate this call. We've been talking, at least I'm talking now, I think it's still going to come out on gender committee report. In Dobana, us as regents and female royal leaders, these are not our positions. And when it's time for us to vacate these positions, there is a bit of a struggle because the person does not know what is he or she's going to do and what kind of capacity that has been extended to the royal leaders in as far as that is one issue that I would like to raise. And if kule 5 years because our term is coming to an end next year, this capacitation program ithini, and if abekho inoba is there akubonwa need into yobana kukhuliswe abantu by the department. One other thing engicinga into yokubana ndiyarhala into yobana sike siyivelele into yokubana i-department lena isincedise kakhulu in working with us. Ndinewari nangoku into yobana ndibangalaqaza. Hopefully they've joined virtually and baboni. That is one area that needs to be that should be isifuna ijongwe. Lastly, Chair, i-committee led by Khoi-San, i-committee ejongana even with issues zethu sebubukhosi. This is my first term mina. Ndifike ndabona into endicinga into yokubana ingumnqa. Eyento yokubana uthi xa ufuna ipolicy edepartmentini ungayifumani. Kube kungekho ne-workbook. Si-appointwe as public bearers apha in terms of the Public Bearers Act. And if ujonga kwelinye icala uyayibona into yobana there is a booklet that guides into yobana what needs to be done, how it should be done. In the absence of the handbook, which I believe this is the 15th year ingekho, bekufanele noko zikhona ipolicy ezitshoyo into yokubana this should be done and how it should be done. In the absence of that, will be taken advantage of how umuntu uzawufilisha into yobana on Monday you deserve a croissant, akunike croissant because there's no guiding document. On Tuesday akunike i-red velvet cake. Xa kelele ngecala elirong akunike i-crust of the bread. That is the problem. There won't be uniformity. And the issue of accountability is our siyibone kahle nge-issue ye-cell phones lonto. It's a pit bangathi discuss for cell phones, but as a matter of principle, every institution ifanele ine policy that guides and uba kwenziwa njani izinto. So on a nutshell, Chair, ndiyarhalela into yokubana sike siyazi into yokubana ithi in the absence of this handbook, what then happens in as far as policy document is concerned. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Nkosi Ngonyama. Nkosi Siyahlulo. Yo, Nkosi Kasboni, apologies.
No, tla ke tsena ke go leboge modulasetulo. Ke dumedise maloko a ntlo le bokwaledi ba ntlo e botlhe. Modulasetulo ne ke re fela ke re ke tlatse se se fetlang go feta Nkosikazi Ngonyama gore a mo training ya dikgosi. We shouldn't forget the rules and order of the house to be included in the training too. Ke a leboga.
Nkosi. I don't see any other hand. Oh, let me check from them. The members. Members, ayikukho enifuna ukukhuluma kule report internal arrangements. Kuba Nkosi Mahlangu.
Ndiyabulela sihlalo. Ndibulise onke amakhosi akhona apha endlini. Ndibulise nesecretariat yonke. Okwami kuncinci nje. Sihlalo ukubana siyayibulela ireport. Inhle kakhulu. Engifuna ukugcwalisela nje ukuthi bengicela kubuza ukuba le APP amakhosi are involved ekwenzeni le APP noma yenziwa i-administration yini. Ngoba kuyafuneka ukuba amakhosi abe involved ekwenzeni le APP ngoba ngibo abasebenza ngayo. Ngilonto ngibuza lo mbuzo sihlalo. Ndiyabulela.
Siyabonga Nkosi Mahlangu. Khona esinye isandla ukuba asikho sizayibuyisela back to uchairperson wecommittee esizwa nangamanye amalungu to answer ezinye questions uba banako ukuphendula imibuzo. Ayiyi kuye le mibuzo iye ecomitteeni iza nakuthi sonke umuntu onawo indlela yokuphendula uncedisa i-debate ye-committee. As I've already indicated that this is not the house of committees. This is the house of traditional and Khoi-San leaders, but assisted by committees to achieve what we would like to achieve. Because my hlangene asinakwazi phambili. It's just a vehicle committees to have committees.
Ke a leboga gape modulasetulo. Ke lebogele dikgosi ka dipotso le ditshwaelo le ditshitshinyo. Ntlha tota ya Eastern Cape gore be sa trainiwa mme segolobogolo gore go be go sa simololwa ka ntlo ya segosi le ma-Khoi-San ke phoso e tona thata modulasetulo gore be e diragetse ga go a tshwanela ka gore ha re ntse yana re romilwe ke di-province yanong ha wena o sa trainiwa mo ebe re ha o boela go gae go be go tsentswe training yaka Kgosi Ngonyama gongwe go kaiwa ko Eastern Cape e be le gore ke ena ga ke tseng ka dipotso e tswa le gore ke ena a tshwantse a thuse go araba ga go a siama so re kopa thata mo botsamaising bo ntlo gore ntlha e baakangwe even for future purposes things must flow from national to provinces and local, not the other way around, especially in terms of information sharing and understanding of laws and procedures of the institution. So I just wanted to check through you, Chairperson. Maybe you will respond later to say, besides the CEO, do we have any other senior levels of administration that is with us so that they are able to adequately respond to some of the issues instead of just throwing everything to the CEO, because some of those issues, the DG, the two DDGs, they should be able to respond to some of these issues. But on our side, as the committee in Nkosi Ngonyama, will really make a follow-up to ensure that as per the agreement, there's training both in Eastern Cape and in the National House. And in terms of capacitation of regents or people who are not permanently recognized, I think it's a very important issue, and over and above the need for training. I think we discussed it in some other meeting that especially the females, the wives of the traditional leaders, there needs to be means to ensure that when the traditional leader passes on, something economically viable needs to happen there. So I would suggest that should include, training also, so that you can be able to fend for yourself. At some point, it just missed us, but at some point, few years ago, Chairperson, we discussed the issue of, in the same committee, we discussed the issue of having to register with certain units. I know Northwest is doing it. Once you get into the house, they made an agreement that you can go and study for free in the Northwest University. So maybe since, the National House is just based in Pretoria, we can start engagement with UNISA to see that immediately when the term begins, if they agree, then you can go and study whatever it is that you want to study. So a similar or the same model can be used. So we would take that up. And also let me just, talk about the issue of ex gratia as the term is coming to an end. In the planning committee, we discussed this thing at length to say, the term is coming to an end. And really, there's not much movement on the issue of ex gratia and gratuity. So we have taken a decision as a committee to write to the chairperson of the house so that she can write to the minister to seek an urgent intervention so that we understand when can the ex gratia be given out. So I'm not sure what else. Okay, the issue of policies. Hence, I was asking about, is there anyone above the CEO who is part of the meeting from the side of administration so that they can be able to respond? I think DDG Shoki on the ip of the handbook. I don't know if she's here so that she can respond to these issues of policies, that are always not there, or today you are given a croissant, tomorrow is the crust, and so forth. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Khoi-San. Is there any other member who would like to comment?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, since following up on a call that is made by Tkla, may I, in terms of Rule 5, make a call that we suspend the rules and convert the House to a committee stage as to entertain people who are not members of the House to contribute on this debate. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Nkosi. Any seconder? Nkosi Ndevu. Siyavumelana ke ba committee stage to allow the non-members to participate. There are questions, but before going to administration, I must really indicate that, Marcos, I did have a meeting with the Deputy Minister and senior officials, including the DG, on these issues, including ex gratia, medical aid, all those issues. And the resolution was that the officials were given task to communicate with provinces and get what is happening there, because some of the provinces have gone ahead. We just wanted to consolidate. The challenge is that coming back is so difficult. Coming back to report. I've been waiting with the Deputy Minister. There's no coming back. from that task. I'm sure Mr. Stolle will just indicate what is happening. What I've noticed is that we did fight for to have our own department for the sake of achieving what we've been fighting for. The main purpose of us fighting for this department was to assist us to achieve what we have been crying about. And unfortunately, when you are talking about the issues that concern you as Mamakos, we are seen as people who are just talking about themselves. Usobuza ke uba xa ungathethi ngawo into ofanele usebenza ngazo ngubani ozothetha ngawo. Ngoba apha sithetha nge-resources ezizawusenza uba sisebenze thina ke pha emakhaya sizi ubukhosi kufika umuntu exakekile eza kuwe funeka umncedile. Asikwazi ke thina sinayo nalento yokuthi xa unceda umuntu ngento encinci uyoma elanto ekamereni ubonakalisa uba now I've assisted this one, I've assisted this one, because ayibo buntu uncede umuntu funeka ubone cameras uba lo muntu was lacking engenazo i-sanitary towels funeka uyovela. We are just doing these things ngoba just to satisfy our stakeholders and partners because it's a requirement for them. But for us, ayonto yethu into yokuveza basenzana. But we are just doing it. God, we have got that responsibility. It's not about ourselves. But the comments which are coming from other people, now I see now the reason why we have those comments. When the mouse is sitting, whoever is coming to disturb that mouse, the mouse is akushaya vele ngoba iyazi ukuthi uzawuzodla esisitha idla kuso. And whilst you are still comfortable, usidla wena apha, you may not think about other people. So other comments, mna ndizibona njalo makhosi ukuthi abanye abantu bebesibona ngoba thina sithetha ngathi, but now we see the results now coming out. But why they were so skeptical about assisting us, babazi ukuthi bayadla bona badlela bona aziye bayinto ebantwini. As we have seen now, the level of corruption. Apho, we just thank God ukuthi amakhosi asikawaboni noko apho evela asitsho bawekho, but amakhosi evela. So this as issue must discuss amakhosi, mna become so emotional ngoba amakhosi athe makufika i-democracy, amakhosi, it was said, no, do away with them. Do away with them, do away with them. Phinde ke ngoku uyibone answer why there was that into ithi do away with them. Okanye funa bangaboni bakwenzakalani, okanye what was happening, but I understand uba niya computer, there will be that situation. Now, which means, if you are in this department, including you and also in this house, in fact, in the noble course, even where even the officials who are working with us, sometimes now they don't tell us, but we just read it. They are not welcome because basebenza nobukhosi banukumzondo ngokusebenza nobukhosi. So, but abathethi when they won't say that because the officials. Makosi, I'll ask Ubaba Story to respond on those issues. But I've been with him sebenza ucafanila okanye ukuthi andithetha kakhulu into ezirongo eParliament ngoba singenayo yethu iParliament esisayidile. Azilonga usandibolekile nizobe ndithetha ezinkosi seyobukhosi namhlanje noba yintoni nakele indicimayo mama ningathethi. Nosinibolekile aningasinike yethu iParliament esisayifuna. Sizacela wena Jobe uzawuresponda kuleyo ukwazi uresponda. As unkosi esisho ukuthi some of the issues may not be at your level. Uba ukwazi ukuziphendula asikubeki panini la but sithi just respond apho ukwazi ukuresponda khona as CEO of this house.
Chairperson ngiyathokoza. Begodwa ngithokoza nethuba amalunga wendlu nginikele ukuthi ngikhulume ngizame ukuphendula Imbuzo leyo ebuzwe malunga kodwa amalunga azi ukuthi ngila ukuzokusekela wona. Nqopho wokuthoma loyo ukuthi kube nomabhalana wendlu ukuthi azokusekela amalunga nakhona ukukhuluma izinto zokuphatha lapha amalunga angekho akhona ukungena khona. Akhona yena ukuthi ayokhuluma in rest. Alright, angibuyele kuleli limi ukuze nenkosi uMahura nayangizwe. Ra gore here le administration ke mmereko wa rena gore re bulele dilo tseo magoshi a batlang gore re di bulele ko dikopanong tsa administration mo magosi a sa kgone tsenang khona. Yeah, now Chairperson, indeed the training has not taken place. Khosisi Tkla has already indicated that, and he has already indicated that it's actually a mistake that the National House should come last in training. Hence, the committee is requesting the House to adopt the report with the proviso that training is going to happen in the next quarter. Now, which is the next quarter? It is the next quarter started from the 1st of October. It ends, well, 31st December. So it means then in this 3 months that I've just mentioned, the training on TKLA, let me say workshop, not the training, a workshop on TKLA, now workshop on CIA. Now, TKLA is Traditional and Khoi-San Leadership Act. Now, CIA is Customary Initiation Act. So the two workshops will go ahead in the next quarter in terms of the decision of the committee. Fortunately, both these pieces of legislation were drafted in the department. People who drafted these pieces of legislation are still there in the department. They can be called at any given time to come and help. Then secondly, Chair, who advocate in the House will as well be ready to present those two pieces of legislation so that members are able to understand the provisions and the how part of, because it's not about saying the National House must be constituted in June 2022, but it's the how part of it. How do you do that? Because to read is simple, but to understand and implement the reading, it's something else. So that is what that workshop will be all about. Now, Chair, I will establish from DDG ISC and Chief Director Capacity Building. Why is actually not PricewaterhouseCoopers, it's the company of Professor Mkhunu, Agioni PricewaterhouseCoopers. But Agiona, it's I've just forgotten the name. But I'll find out from the DDG and the Chief Director responsible for capacity building, what has happened and then all of that. Then I will be in a position to, on this one, to give a response before the end of sitting here today. I will just send them quickly a message so that they are able to give me a response, and I will respond accordingly. So, Chair, that is that. Then the other thing is whether the APP, the strategic plan, was done by the committee or by administration. The administration obviously facilitated, but the actual doing of the APP, the actual doing of the plan was done by the committee. Hence, the committee tabled in the sitting of the House held on the 26th of August, and this House adopted that APP. Then that is why in the report, committee, it is stated very soon, by next week or week after next, the committee will have to sit again to look at the APP annual performance plan for 22-23, because it is a requirement that we have to, this House must develop the annual performance plan 22-23. Note that plan 22-23 may change next year after the new House has been established, because the new House may come up with its own directive. then as officials will then support the House to achieve that direction. So that is what will then happen. A committee will sit to develop that and then table it before the House, and then the House look at it, and then they say EI adopt and EI correct and all of that. But if you look at the APP currently, is based on what the Act provide. For instance, Chairperson, it says initiation that there must be a minimum standard of approval or accreditation of a traditional surgeon. There must be a sort of a minimal training manual or for people who will participate in the process year initiation. I'm just making the example of one key responsibility that is mentioned in the APP. Now, who will do that? That is the relevant committee must do it. After that, table it in the House. Obviously, the committee will say, administration, this is what we want. Then administration is obviously because our responsibility is to support. But we will definitely in the training, it will be done in this quarter, Chair, that I can promise. Maybe if I'm unable, obviously there will be a sitting a committee. I will call those responsible to come, or the issue of policy, yes. The issue of policy, I'll call those responsible. RPL, research, policy and legislation, is the one that is responsible for the development of AMA policies in the department. And it is the understanding of the administration of the National House. Whenever we require any person, any branch in the department to come and assist in whatever, or to come and present or make Amakosi aware of whatever development, then we approach that person to come and do. So we'll talk to the DDG, where RPL Mamshoki, to come and address e-house. I think on that day we will have a meeting of the entire House, because it will seem to me this does not only concern one committee, but it concerns all members. So we will not then necessarily, Chair, have her in the internal arrangement committee, but it will be in the House, so that she is able to explain all these policy issues and so on. And on that day, it will not only be her, but we'll have the DDG responsible for institutional support and coordination, Tandas, so that now should there be issues of support and coordination that she must respond to, she can respond as well. So that is what we will do, Chairperson, and that's what we commit ourselves in doing. And God being with us, on the day training is going to take place, or a workshop, not training, because once you talk about training, it means you must have qualified trainers. So a workshop, because Ustor and I can stand up and conduct, and I'm not qualified trainer. So on the day of workshop, Yama rules, Chair, now these two pieces of legislation, we believe it will be an opportune time for the two DGGs to appear before the House and take the House through all those processes. That will be my suggestion and my response to this. I'm not sure if there's any question that I did not respond to, Chairperson, or make an undertaking on. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. I see Nkosi Ngonyama's hand.
Chair, I think in order to follow the governance processes, I would like to refer the Honorable House to Rule 41, where it says members may speak twice on a matter if the chairperson so allows. That is my request, because I'm speaking for the second time now. May you allow me, Chair, to proceed. Thank you. Nkosi kakhulu. Nkosi, through you, Chair. Nkosi uTatusithole. Indeed, the company is not PwC, it's Deloitte. I'm referring to an email that was sent on the 2nd of the month of 09 in the year 2020 by Ms. Mpho Sibutsane. This email reads as follows. Good morning, honorable members. Kindly receive attached for your information regards. Then there are two attachments. The first, then in fact, on this attachment, besides the attachment now, there is an email that comes from Mr. Mielani Shipalana. It was sent to, apparently internally, then it became a trail that came to our attention as members of the House. Dear colleagues, kindly note that Deloitte is intending to run 2 sessions as per the confirmed workshop dates. The first session from 9 a.m. to 13 p.m. will be workshop targeted to the provincials and district officials, whereas the second session from 14 p.m. to 16 is intended for briefing members of the provincial and local houses. It will be appreciated if colleagues can coordinate the availability of members of provincial and local houses for briefing on RAIT. I don't know what this rate means. At some point, CIA, and that is Central Intelligence Agency. It's a Customary Initiation Act. America. So, on that note, Chair, we appreciate the comment Princess Tole Aichoyo yentobana will be workshopped, but now they into le workshop, because I want to believe that there is what we call value for money. If Deloitte was paid for conducting workshop, I conductwang a workshop as National House. Ndiyacela ngozithoba into yobana i-establishwe loo nto into yokubana izawuconductwa by this company through to members of the House. Angangaphenduli ngoku Mr. Sithola sizokubeka panini ngoku, but ke ngokuba i-establish into yokubana izawuconductwa kuba ngoku umentiona u-advocate. Fine, we do have an advocate, kodwa ke ngoku advocate, there is a company that was paid. So i-concern yami into yobana mna kule mali ingekhoyo mangabikho mali ihamba nje uhalala. Ukuba i-contract iyaphela esithubeni, masazi into bakwenzeke ntoni, singadibani namagosa ethu epeyovela kuzondo unnecessarily. So sincedisana nawo ke in the process. On that note, Chair, mandibe sithi siyayi-appreciate le ayichoyo utata into yobana kuzakwenzeka u-ABC no-D nento yobana sizawatrainwa, but mna what is of utmost importance into yobana endicinga uba the point that I'm trying to drive home as strongly futhi yinto yobana there is Deloitte that was appointed. Deloitte submit an invoice and ke ngoku siyakhala into yobana ikhona into engenzekanga. Let that be addressed ngendlela ephucukileyo. Number 2 ke Chair, ndiyakule nto yepolisi nelantuka nento yobana mayike iqondwe lento uthetha ngayo into yobana kucinga basebenzela thina. I would like to draw a picture nkaibuwa ke likaSuthu hore ilimi ye mong asa utlwe Xhosa a itlhaloganye hore ke batla ho reng. You know, as royalty, on Monday, you become an ambulance. We are in rural areas. The lack of ambulances that goes to our rural communities is a problematic. Mutu udula ko haye ubone hore haunke kolo your own car umuise ko hospital. That's on Monday. On Tuesday, you become a vanki yama police. Because now batu basinse moko laling, and there are no vanches to come. Abantu are supposed to go to the police station. Your own car becomes a police van. Third on Wednesday, you take your vehicle. It becomes a bus to carry our elderly people to go to Obosasa, Abo Home Affairs to do these things, because it's very challenging, it's very difficult. South Africa is very vast. So end up abantu bebheka kwezindawo inkonzo ezikubo endaweni bazize kubo. So ndicinga into okubana xa sisithetha nge-tools of trade, usithi a traditional authority and a traditional authority mayike inikwe ivan, asisenzele sizawudrive thina. Hence ke ngoku when we talk of planning committee and welfare yamakhosi, ungayikhwela once lo moto, but in a nutshell, uyayibona into the people that are benefiting are communities. So ibalulekile into okubana the society out there and the nation should know into okubana we come secondary. All what we do primarily is for our communities. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nkosi Ngonyama. I will take it back to the chairperson of the committee. But before taking it back to you, Chair, and sikhuluma ngexesha eli-right apha, eli-right, sibonile abantu besiya visiting our areas as traditional leaders. Those who are visiting our traditional leaders areas, mabake baphendule phaya kuzo inkosi ukuthi iphi handbook yethu le kudala sifuna isayini yenziwe pha. Baphendule phaya, siyababona bazoya nazo nenkomo, baye nemoto, baye neteletele nani. Kodwa eyona nto izawuthi isivise kakamandi kuke baphendule. Iparlament andithi mos is formed by all parties. Baphendule nje ukuthi handbook lena iphi. Mabefika phaa banje bafike bathi hayi eyona nto sizoyicela ivoti sizosayina sonza ide igqitywe ihandbook yobukhosi. Sime ngayo makhosi. Singathetha izimbini ezinto. I-budget. We may fight with i-department nani ne-officials, but the budget we are going nowhere. And the issue of the budget, kade si raise even during our opening of the house with the president, we raised this issue of budget. Ngoba i-budget mayingekho asizuya ndawo. Over to you, Chairperson Khoi-San.
Ke a leboga modulasetilo. Pele ga nka kopa ntlo gore ya adopte reporto e totale nna ke sone selelo sa me seo modulasetilo gore re man o itse magosi ha ba sa lemoge gore their own. I don't know when will they realize that, because it seems like there's a certain layer of the administration in the house that will only come to the house as and when it pleases them, or when maybe the minister is here. Otherwise, we will just be here with the CEO and his team and bashing them. But, you know, those people, you only see them when they feel like it. You know, a public toilet, you go whenever you feel like it. So traditional leaders must realize that they are indeed on their own, and certain things they must undertake to do them on their own without really having to expect a lot of things. But we must continue to make noise because, Chairperson, those people are paid to implement these things, and they are doing something else. So we must, for as long as they've borrowed us their buildings, and we must continue to make noise as you are doing, Chair. So yeah, I would just ask the House to adopt the report of the Internal Arrangement, Planning and Cooperative Governance Committee of the National House of Traditional and Khoi-San Leaders. Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson Khoi-San, here is the chairperson is now moving for the adoption of this committee, so that the committee report, so that they can proceed to implementing what is there for the next quarter. Any seconder? Nkosi Mahlangu. Nkosi uyasekonda kuba report yamkelwe izokwazi usebenza for the second quarter, for the next quarter. Apologies. Now let's proceed to, I see the hand. Nkosi Mahura Luku.
Sorry. Dumela ka koko mo ke mo dula setulo badiri ka nna badiredi puso ke tshwentswe ke lehoko ebile la ntshwenya ga le bole go ntshwenya mme la ntshwenye le ke utlwileng mokotlege Kgosi Ngonyama a le dirisa a re traditional authority. mme ga re tsewe jaaka a kere ga re mo tlase ga authority ga re di-traditional authorities re di-traditional councils ke sone se go dirwang jaaka ga go ratiwa ka rona because authority ne re na maatla ka nako ya yone ga re bidiwa di-traditional authority di-authority ne di na le maatla mare sa le jaaka go ke di-council maatla a tsamaile jaanong nna ke tsikinya ka bokhutshwane gore a committee le ntlo di dulele lehoko le hatshe e nne homework ya bone gore ba bone gore ba le khauna jang ba le dirisa jang ba le khabolla jang le gore re kgaogana jang le lehoko le la council le re boela ko gore re di authority le na le maatla e na le nama mo marapong ke bua jana ka go bana nako tsa re dirisa authority re ne re kgona go bua le go dira se se re tshwanetseng bogosi mara gompieno yana bogosi ke lehela bogosi bololea ga bo kgone bona le maemo a kgotsa lokete lope ya leboga
a re leboge kgosi empa kgosi e nngwe buang ka yona re ne bua ka yona ha re debata a committee ya internal arrangements jwale re fetile mo re ile la proposal adoption of the committee now re fetela committee e nngwe empa if o batla o bulela ka seo re tla bona hore bulela ka tsona committee efe even Khosi Ngonyama can also allow us to talk about it when we are discussing her committee, the relevant committee. Hobane se mbulela ka sona se bohlokwa. Hobane o bulela ka hore ha re bulela ka council le authority ke ife ena le matla. Le wena o re authority ine ena le matla le council. Impa here tla bulela ka yona ka kopa Nkosi Ngonyama I note mo committee high reporting ya bona ha re kenya mo reporting ya bona. It's just that when I hear even if it is the sitting of the house, we have got rules and whatnot, but that goes together with issues of respect and what is how do you respect one another? I could have said you are out of order, Khosi. Impa we are supposed to show respect and the difference between our sitting and other sittings. So that's why I had to allow you. Let's move to let's move to social development. Kinali kupo etsa hu TCC. Khosi Ndevu, ukupila hore committee high debate committee high ka 5.3 hubani u flight high elanyana. Ke kopa members, I will allow him 5.3 committee high. Let's go to social development 5.2. Ikhosi Khadi Masimula senze njengoba senza na kule committee and let's debate the issues on the committee. Sizane over to Nkosikazi.
Thank you, Chair. And greetings to the chairperson of the House and the honorable members, as well as our officials. On the background, Khosi Siatlolo has already gone through it, but the only difference with our committee is that the chairperson of this committee is unable to attend the committees and the sittings of the House due to the challenges that she's having at home. Then just like other committees, Chair, Social Development Committee is also having the programs that they are working on. So the first program that we are having is a partnership with the Department of Social Development. The partnership of the National House with the Deputy Minister for Social Development resulted in the following awareness campaigns. The first one being fetal alcohol syndrome. That was held in Northern Cape on the 9th of September 2021, which resulted into domestic violence. And then secondly, the Free State one on food security, gender-based violence, and substance abuse held on the 13th of September 2021. And the last one is that on the 21st of September 2021, the Azima one was conducted in Tkla. Then our progress is that the House participated in all the activities organized by a Social Development Department, and the affected communities and traditional leaders ought to be followed up to check their continuation to conduct awareness campaigns. So the second program that we are having as the committee is that we are having partnership with the Alim Dad Foundation. Then on the 13th of September 2021, the foundation distributed dignity packs and blankets in Mpumalanga for the Emakosikati structure and learners. And the foundation further promised to conduct awareness campaign at Khartsibande district regarding albinism and GBVF. The Office of the Premier presented the challenges faced by people living with albinism. Then the visit by Alim Dad Foundation resolved to honor the late chairperson by accepting the request of Emakosikati structure for the donation of dignity packs and other related humanitarian assistance. The Emakosikati structure, being the spouses of Amakosi, took upon themselves to organize needy learners to benefit from the dignity packs. Further, that the challenges of domestic violence, which leads to gender-based violence, is prevalent in parts of Khartsibande district and will fortunately be attended to. The Mpumalanga has a challenge of discrimination against people with albinism. Hence, Emakosikati have taken upon themselves to conduct awareness in different communities. Then the last program that we are having is that one of promotion of social cohesion. The visit to members of the National House who were and still are facing some challenges. The National House, through the request by Social Development Committee, delegated the chairpersons of committees to visit Nkosi Mkachwa and Morena Muloi of Mpumalanga. This visit was conducted on the 29th of September 2021 per request by the committee. And then the joint activities with other National House of Traditional Leaders members. Members of the Social Development Committee participated in the following National House of Traditional and Khoi-San Leaders activities. Number one, members of the National House participated in joint culture and EXCO meeting on the 5th of July 2021 for the tabling of Q1 reports. Secondly, members of the National House attended a special tribute to the late chairperson of the National House of Traditional and Khoi-San Leaders, Nkosi S.E. Mahlangu, on the 19th of July 2021 to map the way forward in preparation for the funeral service. Then the third one, members of the National House attended the joint National House and Chairpersons Forum on the 19th of July 2021 to discuss the memorial service of the late chairperson of the National House of Traditional and Khoi-San leaders. Then the fourth one, the members of the National House of Traditional Leaders participated in the consultation on the draft integrated crime and violence prevention strategy by the Civilian Secretariat for Police Service on the 6th of August 2021. Another one, members of National House participated in Women in Local Government Dialogue on the 10th of August 2021. The Department of Communications and Digital Technologies developed a draft policy and policy direction on rapid deployment of electronic communications and facilities and engaged members of the National House on this policy on the 18th of August 2021. Members of the House attended a webinar on the transformation fighting GBV within houses of traditional leaders and enabling food security in traditional communities, which was held on the 7th of September 2021. Then lastly, members of the House visited Inkosi KN Kachwa and Morena L.E. Moloi to provide moral support to them on the 29th of September 2021. On the work still to be done, the members of Social Development and Gender Committee Development should visit Khosipoi in Setlagole village in the Northwest Province to check on progress made since the launch of Cheka Impilo 2 years ago. The visit will determine action to be taken by the House. The revival of Social Development Forum of Houses will be done in the next quarter. The challenge of food security in traditional communities is the cause for concern, especially on social cohesion. And social cohesion is not possible when people are hungry. Therefore, a joint meeting and food security drive by the SDC and Land and Agriculture Committee must be considered for the next quarter. I therefore recommend that COCHA consider the quarterly report of the Social Development Committee and advise accordingly. This is the end of our report. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Khosikgadi Masimula. Here's the report of the Social Development Committee. Now it's open for debate. I'll just indicate that when they are reporting about issues of Alzheimer, Marcos, we need to take this serious. As people grow old, there's a lot which is happening. Issues of mental disturbances. I was part of the visit by the Department of Social Development during the Alzheimer Day, that we were in Lady Frey, Eastern Cape. That is the area which has been identified with high rate of killings of elderly people accused of witchcraft because of their state of mind. And what is painful is that most of the time the people who are killed are women. This doesn't mean that it's only women who are having Alzheimer. Also the men, they do have Alzheimer, but it depends on the state of, in fact, you know that as women who are always caring for the families, the first thing that will going to happen as I grow old and I lose my mind, I won't forget to talk about my children or my grandchildren, even the children from the neighborhood, because they used to come here and stay with me. But when I'm talking about them, when I've lost my mind, the people will be saying, now they're talking about our children. So ezi zinto kufuneka sizame ukuzijonga thina sibubukhosi, sizame into okubana sibe nayo indlela yokubana sikhulise abantwana ngendlela yento okubana bakhule bezazi ezi zinto kangangento yobana ide yasuggestwa into yobana le nto ye-Alzheimer funeka ike ingene ezikolweni ikicaciswe kakhulu enze abantwana bakhule beyazi le nto uba hayi kukho ixesha elinjeni uba ezinye into xa zithethwa sele abebadala abantu azingeni kahle. And ke yothuse kakhulu kwezinye iindawo nyhani ubona uba yeyi ezi ndawo zii-areas zobukhosi kodwa awuvuba kahle ubukhosi buthini nezinye ii-leaders ke kuba apha xa siphasa bubukhosi khona ezinye ii-leaders abanye ngamalungu epalamente abanye zii-councillors zingamadoda azisilweli ufana nale nto ye-gender-based violence nayo vele nje awukuve kuthiwe nanto indoda igxothwe etywaleni igxothelwe into ibiphethe kabi umfazi kuthi hayi le indoda kuthiwe mayihambe kuthi makuhlelwe phaa kulaa ndawo ukuhlala kuthiwe amadoda ayigxothile kuba iphethe kakubi umfazi. I have never heard about it, but siyazi ukuthi ezinye izinto sazifumana kuba kwi-gender committee, but ii-issues ze-gender committee and i-social development are linked. So ndiyacela makhosi uba ezinto zinto ezi-Alzheimer ukuphazamiseka nokukhula kwabantu bezi-programs esizisapotayo nakwindawo zethu. I open this committee report for debate. Nkosi Mthuli, phantse ndakubiza Nkosi Mabhula. Kanti ke benzoba ndenza rongo ngoba apha kwi-sitting we need to address omnye kakuhle ngohlobo afane umuntu uadresswa ngayo as inkosi uba lilungu lenkosi. U-CEO of the house funeka addresswe as CEO of the house ngoba ngenxesha mase simbiza uPrince phaya others will say uSithole sezenza iPrince ngapha kulaa ndlu yobukhosi. Kanti ke just luthando olwenziwa ngunantsika ngumuntu ombiza olo hlobo. So ke phantse ndakubiza Mabhula uxolo nkosi yami lungu libelekekileyo nkosi Mthuli.
Chair, the report has been thoroughly read. I think that no additional and also no corrections to be made from our side as a committee because we were there while we were compiling this report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nkosi Mthuli. Masivule ke ngoku for other members to debate, and you have just done a correcting to say yes, it is the correct report. It's coming from the committee. Let's open it. Nkosi Singa.
Ngiyabonga sihlalo omhlangano bingelele amalunga wonke ahloniphekile isigungu esiphezulu se-executive amalunga wonke endlu. Chair, I've just got two questions to the committee. One will be that how has the food security in traditional community areas during these trying times been affected? Has it been effective through these programs, or is there any collaboration with the Department of Agriculture to produce more food? Because people, we know that the employment and poverty is on the rising. The second one will be, how has Chekimpilo not been affected by the uprising of COVID-19? Because we know that Chekimpilo was there before COVID-19. So my question is it been affected because of this pandemic? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Nkosi. Nkosi Shinga. I'm sure you've noted the questions and comments. Khona Nkosi Khasiboni, and emva kwakhe kuzoba nguNkosi Mthuli, the princess.
Ke a leboga modulasetulo. Ne ke ke dumedisitse la ntlha. Modulasetulo, ke na le concern mo maphelong a di-royal families. Ne ke le mongwe wa batho ba ne ba ile ko go Kgosi Mkhatshwa ka trip tsa go etela dikgosi le dikulatsi. Se ke se boneng kwana modulasetulo se utlwisa botlhoko. Kgosi o tla le di-private security se setse go di duelwa ke mang le eng ka nako mang ba kry-a ka madi a go duela private security go secure bona self. Malobane commissioner Sithole a kile a tla ko ntlong a tlo bua gore ba ka leka go thusa go tlisa security ko di royal families kapa ko di traditional councils. So a ke tsore kganye tsa mafuka ya gore commissioner Sithole ba tsole ka go thusa di royal families ka security, because hana ke le go go Mkhatshwa ke ne kutlwa ke gore tota go safe ifo ha ba re totlela gore batho bana ba thuntsa re kgadi ya gage ba mo thuntse a le mo ka montlong yana ba hirile private security mara ntse re na le security rena since se re thuse mo Africa Borwa. So I don't know how going to be assisted, because this is very threatening. It's yatsama. Terrible. Maybe the relevant committee should follow up on that Tkla Sithole for how far is she go to traditional councils security. Thank you.
Nkosi Mthuli, emva kwakhe kuzoba Princess Kgabu Moroka.
Ngithi ngiyawithdraw ngobe ngicabanga ukuthi ngiphendule Nkosi Shinga, sengiyacabanga ukuthi ayikambe imibuzo iyophendula ekugcineni. Ngiyabonga.
Yeah, correct, Nkosi Princess.
Ke a leboga modulasetulo, ke se tlotlo yotlhe go ntlo eno e tlotlegang, members of the executive and all members including administration. Modulasetulo re amogela report eno ya Committee ya Social Development. May I rise on 3 points. The first one being gender-based violence and femicide. Yes, we do take note that some work has been done by the committee, but re karata go utlwa gore a mo mmerekong o dirilweng o a gona le ke tla reng follow up tse di dirilweng from the engagements that the committee has had the issues tsa GBV, and are there any steps that will be taken or moving forward? We do know that GBV is a pandemic on its own in our country, especially in our rural areas. Chair, the second one, I truly would like us to appreciate the work that the Deputy Minister of the Department of Social Development is doing with working with traditional leaders. And I think we have witnessed that she truly does it wholeheartedly. So, and I think we also need to explicitly express the fact that she is leading by example. That is exactly how other departments are supposed to be interacting with our institution, and therefore we such things we should sort of elevate within in our reports, so that we express the good work and mention. I think she has done something now with the traditional leaders by taking some of our princes to rehabilitation as well, which are things that show that it goes beyond the programs of the department, but she is also interested in the well-being of the institution. And I think that is truly commendable. The last one, Chair, through you, if I would respond to Khoi-San, this issue touches really on the well-being of the institution or traditional leaders. And we can't say it more than enough that we are on our own. So maybe we should find ways of finding solutions on our own to these challenges. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Princess. Any other hand? Kgosi Motshwaragolo.
Ke a leboga modulasetulo le maloko a ntlo e. Ke ne ke re bakatse seo se sa ba mokgaso ke botlhoko. Mme dilo tse di wa ke family. So tse tle sa dira ka 2006. Mo go kgosi ba re ke le mo go kgosi toto mara yo shuleng. Family ya kgosi ba re ke ne motho la kgatlhanong. A ba ngala mmereko a ba bola ko mmerekong wa gagwe. Mara family e bua gape ya go motsa gape a bola mo mmerekong. Kgosi toto le ene family ya go le ne mo direga le motho la kgatlhanong. Ba tlogela bogosi a bola mmerekong mme family ya go ya go motsa gape tšhae motsai ka masepala wa rona wa John Talogetse o motsa o mo isa kana o na tsama letsatsi ura tse fo mo flighteng go ya kana ile go tloka ba itla a boela mo bogosing ke ntse tse ba ka tshogana mo mokhaso tso tse ga ke botlhoko le rona ke ka moshebe mo lastulebe le rona gore ha kgosi ngwe ya amega ba rotlhe re amega tokolole e nngwe ha ya amega ya mamele wotlhe chairperson ka la rona ba go tsiba go rotlhe ya kona go le Mpumalanga go le Mpopo rotlhe re magosi mara a tshwana kgosi ngwe ha utlwa botlhoko le nna ka mfe ke nna rotlhe ra tshwana ke a leboga modulasetulo.
Re wa Kgosi Motshwaragolo. Nkosi Ngonyama.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I should have, Chair, followed suit on Nkosi Umthuli because I'm the member of the committee. I profusely apologize. I went out for a comfort break, so I missed the opportunity. But I thank you also for allowing me the opportunity to input on the report. Indeed, this is the report as the committee that I sit in, Injeng. But I would like to put an emphasis item 1 under the Alzheimer awareness campaign. I think you cannot divorce dementia from the Alzheimer. As rural communities, I want to believe that not much is being done in terms of driving an awareness in as far as these two serious diseases are concerned. A lot of our grannies have been killed in rural communities. They are accused of tagata because of the dementia and Alzheimer. I'm talking as an affected person. I know what the challenge is of especially the dementia. If I would put it in a it has got, in fact, it in a potential of ukunixabanisa even inodwa ningabantwana ngenxa yale problem kumzali wenu. And again, how much more xa i-society yona ezawufika umama wakho who used to be a nurse afike athi ethetha nje abe sithi no ubona ba ukula period yokutshintsha ogqirha no kuthiwa kunike report ujonga imiqamelelo masithi lo mntana uright kuzawuthiwa nguthikoloshe lo mntana ngabantu basemakhaya. It is very painful. So I'm calling upon department, both working jointly when we talk of intergovernmental relations, the Department of Health together with the Department of Social Development. Ukunto okubana noko ibe key performance area yabo abayiprioritizayo i-awareness yokubana kuthethwe ngezingxaki that are facing our rural communities. Is-tax spread in the Eastern Cape sidume kakubi of killing abantu abadala, being accused of witchcraft, and yet when you look at an 8-year-old uyayifumana into yobana common sense will tell you into yoba dementia. What is even more painful is that ugogo wasedolophini zange ndive kuthiwa utshisiwe. It's always abogogo in rural areas that are victims of this witchcraft. Then you will see the gap that those in urban areas, at least they are well informed, okanye they've got a clue of what is happening. It's us in rural communities who awareness needs to be driven vigorously in as far as these issues are concerned. The other issue that I would like to highlight, Chair, which is indeed, it's another pandemic, a serious pandemic, is the issue of drugs in our society and amongst our children. I speak also as well as an affected person. Princess Moroka into bana how the department through Deputy Minister of Social Development is assisting. We cannot thank her more. May God bless her. Futhi expand her territory. Amandisela iminyaka. We want to say this openly. I-society iyazi into okubana usinceda ngohlobo lungummangaliso. What is also more of a serious challenge, I will make an example. I didn't do the research on other areas, but I'm just going to dwell with Eastern Cape. There is only one government institution, a rehabilitation center that deals with abantwana. It's in PE, I've forgotten the name, but it's in Port Elizabeth. Nalapho ufumana into okubana they consider certain ages into bana bakuncede in terms of getting into that institution of dealing with uba uyoncedwa as a rehabilitation center. Otherwise, you have to go through private rehabs. Now you ask me a question. Umntu ohola i-grant uzayithathaphi i-12,000 a month for a rehab. You can see into okubana the poor are marginalized in as far as other services are concerned, because drugs, I can safely say they know no age. Indoda endala ena 40-50 years ufumana bisene problem ngabantu abangakwazi uncedwa abo. So it is a call to our government into bana when they sit down, they must also review their policies in as far as drugs are concerned. Bayijonge lento yale age, 80 certain age iyancedwa yona, mabake bayivule into okubana makuncedwe umuntu othi ufuna uncedwa une drugs, une problem with drugs. I can also safely say, Chair, into okubana drugs have been declared by the World Health Organization as a disease. Ifana neswekile, high blood pressure, you cannot say unzazinceda kwiswekile. You have to go to the doctor akunike amayeza into bana udilishane nelantuka neswekile yakho. So this is a call, Chair, into okubana as much as we have got COVID pandemic, we have got a drug pandemic. It's very serious. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Khoi-San Ngonyama. Khona omnye also unathetha kule debate on this committee. Before giving back to the chairperson of the committee, ndizanza ongeza nje kwinto ethi chairperson of the committee and members. Le nto eAlzima sithetha ngayo lena iyafana nalento yokukuthwala. Into abamandizilinke ezi zinto. Zizinto imanti alzima ukubulawa kwabantu ngenxa yento bakusithiwa bayathakatha. Dise nale kuthwaleni kwabantwana. Ento zombini zenziwa kubantu ku-aphuwa. Even if you can go to rural areas, kwezaa ndawo zasemakhaya, nalapho nayibona eza family ngathi zifumile. Awuzubafumana abantu bazo kusithiwa naba betshisa ukuthi bayathakatha kuyiwa kwezi kanye zabahluphekeleyo. Uye kwakule nto yokuthwala awukuve kuthiwa nakumntwana wesikhulu esithile ethwelwe. Uba bazothi abantu ayilisiko laze lathini. Akho mntwana umuntu onezinto othwalwayo, kuthwala abahluphekileyo. So ezi zinto kunto ezi-linked with i-poverty nengxaki zakho ezongeza more to ingxaki yakho ohleli unayo. Uba uzothi unengxaki yento yobana usokola, uphinde kwakhona abantu be-community baphinde bakubone as someone othakathayo. Ukhuseleko lwakho luphikanya pho lukhoyo. Xa ulungekho kwakwaba uhleli nabo bafana nawo. Zizinto ke ngoku ezifuneka siziqwalaseleni kwendawo siya kuzo. I'm taking it back to you, Chairperson Khoi-San Masimula, on behalf of your chairperson. Before that, nam ndiya-attesta kule nto ithi really uNkosi uMkhatshwa needs his assistance, but we've done our work as the House, written to even to the Provincial Commissioner. We did our work because this is a matter of concern. Utsho uKhosi uMutshwaragoli ukuthi lento yethu sonke, it's not affecting umuntu oyi-one. Wabatsho baxela nabanye who are affected. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. On the issue of food security, Chair, we are still going to have a joint meeting of that with the Social Development Committee and the Land and Agriculture Committee are still going to have the joint meeting in the next quarter. Then on the Cheka Impilo issue, Chairperson, they are no longer active, but maybe it's because of the COVID-19, Chairperson, but we don't know. We just think that maybe it's because of that. I don't know as to whether there are other questions that maybe I did not answer, but I remember the only two. Thank you, Chairperson.
Let me also add to what you have just said, Khoi-San Masimula, on the issue of Impilo. That is true. COVID-19 has affected some of the programs. And as we know that this program is coming also from SANAC. So there are programs we are a little bit disturbed. Mr. Kandlela, I'm sure if you can be able to respond, as we have allowed the officials also to respond, you can assist us because he's somebody who's always hands-on with those programs. But I fully agree with you. Coming to food security, what we have been doing with a partnership to the Solidarity Fund. Remember, we had the food vouchers, but we said no. We encourage abantu not to be we discourage dependency syndrome. Sathi let's have funding vouchers as ubukhosi to encourage people to have their food gardens, and we are still continuing with that. So as Nanska's program, they talk exactly to that. And as Mr. Kandla, I will allow you to respond on the issues of e-land, e-checking people, and any other issue you'd like to add.
Thank you, Chairperson, and greetings to honorable members. With regard to Cheka Impilo, it is true, COVID has put almost all the programs to a halt. Things are not as they are supposed to work. So we are just monitoring as the levels are going down. But it's just that, you know, when you look at what Ubablinda is sharing with us every day about the rates of infections and the rates of death, it's just that when things are bad, we eventually take very serious things as normal. If you look at the number of deaths every day, even to this day, they are high. They go up to 60. But we are taking it as normal because things are bad. 60 people dying a day because of COVID is still serious. So many things have still come to a standstill. And then regarding the visit to Tkla, there was a proposal that the committee must go and meet with Khoi-San just to find out about the rumor that there is a high teenage pregnancy in the area. And then, yes, but when we engaged with officials, maybe as a bit of a background, before the visit to Khoi-San on Cheka Impilo, the recommendation by the House was that the visit should be to Khosi, to one of the Khosis who was the Khosi Shole, yes, that was the recommendation. But the Department of Health gave us scientific evidence saying that the rate of HIV in Khosi Shole's place was far lower than what was happening in Ratlo, where Khosi is located. It was around 8 point something. And they said in Khosi area, it was 11 point something. So that was the need to actually go and do a checker in Impilo, encourage people to test. So even with teenage pregnancy, without disputing what is being said about the high rate, the Department of Health said, you know, maybe it wouldn't help much to simply go to Khosi and then the Khosi babadula li Khosi gore problem so. Khosi is not a scientist. You know, they said it would be helpful if we give them time for them to compile scientific statistics that show then and now. When you visited, the visit was undertaken 2 or 3 years ago. This was the situation. Now, how is the situation? So that we go there armed with scientific evidence and engage Khosi, because Khosi might not know all the details, but it will just be to tell him and share with him, Khosi, based on a research that was done, there is this problem. It has been confirmed. There were rumors, but the officials actually confirmed. So from what you can do, Khosi, what is it that can actually be done to actually fight the teenage pregnancy pandemic? And then as it was also mentioned yesterday by Steve, ikari tabaya hori bana ba banyane ba imelwa is now getting out of hand. It's almost everywhere. And then it will not only be in Khosi area, but many other areas are affected. But it's a good idea to identify an area and go and engage with all stakeholders. So the visit to Khosi is still in the radar, but we will have to get the stats, and then of course engage the Northwest Provincial House for adi Khosi baya ko Khosi the malukwa Northwest Provincial House baba tengi liwa.
Thank you, Mr. Kandlela, for that explanation. Back to you, Khosikhathi. Masimunda, can you, we're waiting for you to move for the adoption of your report.
Thank you, Chair.
Oh, I see the hand goes to the.
Thank you, Chair. Item 5 of the report under work still to be done. Bullet number 2 deals much with the question asked by Honorable in Shinga. We have means and strategies to meet with some of our departments, each Department of Agriculture and others, to make interrelationships. Thank you.
Thank you. Khosgadi.
Thank you, Chair. I'm moving for the adoption of our quarterly report by the House. Thank you.
I second.
Thank you, Khosi. The report has been adopted of the Social Development Committee. Now you are free to implement your plans. And also don't forget to convey our appreciation to your chairperson who's working from home, but working very hard. We have got a lot of programs coming from here, gifts for other people. Thank you very much. That is much appreciated by this House. And let's move to the Committee on Tradition, Culture and Customs. The chairperson, Nkosi Ndevu, as I've already indicated that he's got an earlier flight, so he had to ask to be allowed to present earlier than other committees which are supposed to be reporting before him.
Chairperson, thank you very much for the opportunity. Greetings to the members of the House, the leadership and our officials. Chairperson, as you know, that yesterday was a big moment for the country, wherein our future, which is the young people, our grade 12 learners were starting their final examination. Therefore, I stand first to say, as a National House, we wish them well in their final examination. We do so because, Chairperson, they are really the future of this country. If we can not allow them to get proper education, then that means we would then be seen to be collapsing our own country. Therefore, we wish them well as a National House in their final examination. Then, Chairperson, let me then proceed to the report of the committee on TCCH. Our report, Chairperson, is, as other reports, it does have a background in the members of the committee, which I am not going to read because members have got the report. It was tabled yesterday, so they have been given an opportunity to read on it. I'm not going to read a report word by word, but I will summarize the report, Chairperson, summarizing it in the following manner: that on page 3, as it is written, that the booklet, the profile booklet for the members of the TCC committee, as it was proposed by Mr. Malobane from DTA, who is responsible for the TCC issues. That booklet is still with them at the department, trying to polish it up and finalize it. And then after that booklet has been finalized for the members of the committee, it is then going to be extended to all the members of the House, because it is a booklet that contains the information about each and every member of the House. And information that says, who is he, which clan is he coming from, what is he in that clan, what are the cultural activities that are in line with what sort of animals do they link to the clan, and all that information, so that at least when the term is ending, those that are coming, they know that there was also so and so in the house, where sugar from this place, from this province, the cultures are the music, all these other activities that are linked to their clan. They are detailed in that booklet. So that booklet, Chairperson, is within the DTA just for finalization. It will then come out and see if the members appreciated, and then it will then be extended to all members of the House. We hope to get that finalized before the end of the term. Then on the issue of initiation schools, one would remember that we had the National Initiation Task Team, which was then replaced by the CIA, which is Customer Initiation Act. That National Initiation Task Team has since lapsed because now the National Initiation Act provides for the establishment of the National Initiation Oversight Committee, which has just been gazetted in the last week or so. Therefore, that meeting that we had was only to brief members of the National Initiation Task Team that that task team is then coming to an end, which will be replaced by the new National Initiation Oversight Committee. Then on the issue of the harmful cultural practices, this is a matter that we've been debating on for quite a long time, but the agreement on it in terms of the committee is that because it was also presented in the Chairperson's Forum, and all provinces have adopted the fact that the issue of the harmful cultural practices must be dealt with right at a lower level. We must gather communities at a village level so that they talk about those cultures that are viewed as harmful, so that we have one common booklet in the house that talks about all the cultures that are performed in various provinces by various communities. So that takes care of the issue of the harmful cultural practices as viewed by other people. Then on the issue of heritage sites, Chairperson, we have since requested Amakosi onke in the country to identify heritage sites so that they are then submitted to those that have got a responsibility of categorizing them or declaring them, so that they be declared. Because if we do that, then we also allow traditional areas to receive some financial spin-offs on the cultural tourism activities that are happening in their own areas. Then on the issue of social cohesion program, in fact, on the issue of the heritage sites as well, I can also mention, Chairperson, that issue Nkosi Stokwe, the reburial of Nkosi Stokwe, and also the removal and the reburial of Ukumkano Hitsa's grave. It's in the process by the Department of Arts and Culture, led by Minister Natim Tetwa, together with some other officials in our DTA offices. A little bit far from where it is, because Ligasem Fulin, it's next to the river, but now as the river flows, it gets closer to the grave. So we then requested that it be removed and relocated from where it is. If family of Stokwe requested the reburial of the remains of Nkosi Stokwe. That process, in fact, both processes are underway with the Department of Arts and Culture. Then on the issue of social cohesion program and the promotion of the social cohesion, a committee has received a presentation from DTA insofar as that. And then we are then waiting for the process by DTA to be completed in terms of integrating the National House on it. But we have then said the program must start from the Tribal Council level. All TCs must be engaged in terms of the issues of social cohesion so that it becomes a program that is linked from the National House down to the village level. Then on the issue here, indigenous languages promotion, DTA has developed a plan on the promotion of languages, but that plan was presented to the committee. And then we then said, let's make sure that we push that agenda, moving speed, Chairperson, because we cannot be in a country that is seen as a liberated country, but we're still dominated by the languages. and the Afrikaans as languages, the language that was supposed to be done away with long time ago. But up to this moment, we are still
zingena i-house singazibona kukho abanye abantu abagrabha la opportunity bathathe phaya. So my also comment Chase kule ncwadana niyenzayo this booklet andazi nobana ndiyanisokolisana kanti kutheni ngaseske nisenzele sonke nayibook nisihlanganise kulaa booklet sonke ngoba kaloku nibuza ngamasiko in fact ikakhulu injongo zenu ukuva ii-issues zethu zoba zingcambu zethu nobana amasiko i-cultural practices nezinye izinto. So andaba siyanisokolisana xa sisithi senisenzela sonke kaloku nisijonge sonke ningajongi ikomiti yenu yodwa andazi uyawuresponda xa ubona ubana hayi is based on what. Also nisitshekishele into umzekelo indigenous games sive kakuhle ubana i-objectives of reviving them now. What is the objective? Enzela ubana sikwazi ubana xa sisiya kuzo siyazi uba i-objectives silunge i-end results zezantoni. It's just for us uba basibonise uba abantu babetakataka babuca okanye what is the purpose of reviving this? Yayibona Chase. So nisinike uNasika, but I'll open it for discussions in Nasika reporting.
Chair, to add on what Inkosi Ndlovu has said as a member of this committee.
Inkosi yami ukuphazamisa ayisuhlala phansi Inkosi manjalo. Siyacela sicela sanitizer now. It's been a long time singatholi ezandleni. Continue Inkosi.
Ngiyabonga. Sithi-ke thina njengey'member zaleli committee siyathanda ukuthi uma sisuka la sihlangane namakomiti akwi-province ukuze bakwazi esikwenzayo la e-national olusenzindana ukuze kukwazi ukuthi izinto zi-align ngoba sisebenza ngezwe elilodwa. Njengokuthi nje ma kuthiwa la asicele ama-heritage site wonke fanele sikhulume nasemakhosini amanye province ukuthi nawo awasilekelele kwinkosi uMthuli ngeke ikwazi ukuyokholetha le ogwini kushinga inkosi lushinga kukude kodwa kufanele ukuthi masisuka la sixhumane nabo ngendlela ezaxhumana nabo basondele ukuze bezwe ukuthi sithini masila. Ngiyabonga.
Nkosi uMthuli inkosi siyahlula
ka leboga modulasetilo ke leboge reporto go tswa ko go Nkosi Ndlovu le komiti. Ntlha hela ene ke batla go itsitsenya modulasetilo dipedi ke ya dikgotla ke itse gore ka maleme a mangwe ke is it a direct translation ya Isibaya Nkosi Shinga or what is kgotla in Zulu? Inkundla. Oh, it's not Isibaya. Okay. Isibaya is where the cows is a crow. Okay. Okay. So you say what is it? Sorry, Chair, I just need to understand. What is a Khotla in Zulu? Inkundla. And in Xhosa? Inkundla. Yeah, I would just like, thank you. I would just like to plead with Nkosi Ndlovu and his committee to, when they travel around the country, to encourage traditional leaders to host public gatherings or community meetings in Inkundla, because now they have just become a sort of a museum, you know, we no longer use them. But I would like to maybe applaud my sister here, because whenever I see pictures in her events, they are always in Inkundla. So yes, that is what we would like to see all the time, you know, because that is where our forefathers used to host their meetings, but also as a way to modernize them just a little bit, to make them landmarks, within the GPS systems, so that when someone goes to a village, when you open the Google map, then you can see that Inkundla is there. Ama Bomvana, whoever, you see. So please do that. And then since the last issue, since the Khoi-Sans now are recognized in terms of law, the preservation of their language and whatever it is that is left, starting here in Western Cape, can maybe the committee look at trying to assist them in terms of preserving the language that are going extinct and their way of doing things, so that for recordal purposes, so that the future generations, their descendants, can know what is it that they are supposed to be doing. Thank you.
Nkosi Siyahlolo. Nkosi Mahlangu.
Ngiyathokoza sihlalo ithuba ngithokoze nereport yekomiti ye-TCC. Sihlalo ngiba ukuthoma la ekutheni bakhuluma nge-harmful cultural practices, of which ngowami umbono ayikho i-harmful cultural practice. Into nje ukuthi abantu bayisebenzisa ngendlela okungasiyo bese kuthiwa it's a harmful one. Ayizange mina emoyeni nami ngithola ukuthi imvelaphi yethu kunalapha ikhange ibe yihle khona nangibeka ngesikhuwa kuthiwa bathi harmful. Akhe ngibekise ukuthi inkosi lapha usiyahlulwa izolo kwa veza ukuthi emandulo thina ngesintu sethu sijwayele ukuthi siyathandaza, kodwa nasifika ngapha asisathandazi, senza i-moment of silence. Kuyakhambisana nalokhu ukuthi abantu basebenzisa ikambiso yesintu ngendlela okungasiyo bese kuthiwa i-harmful. So angikhambisani negama elithi harmful cultural practices. Bawa sihlalise kuhle ekutheni ikwazi ukukhamba ngendlela. Ngithokozele ihlelo lokuvuselela amalimi wesintu. Okuyinto ezosenza ukuthi ubuthina bethu bungapheli, because that's our identity. Amalimi wethu uma siwaliselela anga ukuthi achabalale kuzabe kukufa kwethu. Ngithanda ukuveza sihlalo ukuthi eprovinsini i-TCC committee yenze ubudlelwano ne-NGO. La i-NGO ithome ukuveza ukuthi kwenzeke njengoba enkolweni kusesenenkolo ezingafundisi our indigenous languages. So kunalelo hlelo lokuthi bakhambe bafaka amalimi wesintu enkolweni ukuthi athome ukufunda. One, bathome eDalmas, whereby MEC where education was invited, abe ne-NGO, ne-TCC committee, MEC wavuma ukuthi the curriculum bazakwazi ukuthi bayichange ikwazi ukulandela ukuthi amalimi wesintu akwazi ukufundiswa. Ngakho nginesibawo-ke ukuthi naleli committee laku national nalingaba namahlelo ukuthi lamalimi wesintu esingafuni ukuthi ashabalale iwazi kwathuthukisa, ayibe namahlelo ukuthi akwazi ukuthi aqhubekele phambili, afundwe nenkolweni, ekakhulukazi enkolweni ezisemalokishini lamalimi awafundwa. And kunabantu balowo mhlobo abangafunda lawo malimi lawo. Ngiyathokoza sihlalo.
Sibonge Nkosi Mahlangu, Nkosi Ngonyama.
Enkosi Sihlalu, ndizawucela uthetha isiXhosa. Ndizawusizama ke isingisi esi. Ndizawuthi uNkosi uNdevu uthi hayi uba umpedi akeva uba ndithini makasela amanzi axole. Nam xa ke thetha ndizawusela amanzi ndixole. In my study days, there was a period called vernacular. Where I grew up, there are only two tribes. It's the Hlubis and the Sutus. I'm a Hlubi. So during that period of vernacular, it was the time when we were still beaten at school. So if I didn't do my homework during vernacular period, I would remain in a Sutu class. Limo Sutu hae sa homework ya hae, utla remain ko Xhosa class. That's how I became both fluent in Sutu and Xhosa. So it's something that is doable. It has helped me so much. I'm not sure uba vernacular isekhona at this day and age. U-94 umkene into ezininzi. So it is my wish and prayer that I go back to our roots. Hubani na Sotho ke asbua, Sesotho ke asingola. I'm very fluent. Ke ne ke re ha ke balea teacher ko classing ya Xhosa, ke dule le teacher ya Sotho. Ke bale Sotho, ke ngole Sotho ko classing. So I know both languages. It is also still my wish, Hore, if I can go to Gauteng, I would get a class, if there's still any, Kibale Sipedi, Kibale Songa, Kibale Sishangane. Then I would be fluent in many languages. The language that there are few languages that I don't know. It's Afrikaans. I don't know what I will have time because of age. Or I can still learn the language. Unfortunately, so the call that is being made by Nkosi Ndevu, I'm supporting it. But there are ways and easy ways of doing it. So on that note, Chair, I would also like to come to in this report. There are two items that I didn't see. I'm calling upon the committee to interrogate these issues, to talk about them. They are very uncomfortable to be discussed, but it's high time we discuss them. We as royal leaders, we are the custodians of customs and culture. I want to zoom straight to the issue of customary marriage. Customary marriage is practiced mainly by our own people, by rural communities, by a lobolana, and then the families exchange gifts. There are processes that are undertaken for one to be declared a lawful wife. I will cite a few. One, ufika, you are removed the clothes that you were wearing when you come, you are given new clothes. Tina in Xhosa, unikwe isijeremane, unikwe into kinxele esinqeni, unikwe iqhiya uthwale enhloko. Number two, unikwe ixakatho wombathe. Number two, your name will no longer be Nondumiso. I am Nondumiso. But people hardly know me by that name. You go to my village, ukhangela Nondumiso, utlamatla uye uncame. Look for Nobongo. That is the name that was given to me by my family. The name is changed. And then Uchisutsiki. Kufagwe namas, fagwe masin. And then that seals me as umfazi wamadlomo ozophitsho. That is the culture. It has been practiced since time immemorial. We all know that. Now fast forward. Aphakama amakhosi, because now bona they are of the view that they are entitled to have more than one wife, as the custom so allows. It's only umthetho wabelungu who does not allow them to have more than one wife, the civil union. But customary marriage do allow them. ukuthi they must have more than one wife. Bayothatha umntana wabantu kowabo bathi bayamzeka bamfaka endlini. Xa ke fika pha anzi into zalomsi ahlale abe kuthiwa ngumama walapha bamphi igama kuthiwa nginobhongo. At some point bazawuthi hayi senze into erongo ayingowegazi. Bebeye kulamzi beyazi into okubana that family ayo family yegazi. Baya abuswa abantwana babantu. That is one form of GBV. I say it openly. One form of GBV. GBV can be physical, can be psychological. It takes all forms. But ye baya bahlukumeza abantwana babantu, abantu abangamakhosi. The very same people who are supposed to be the custodians of this culture. And the question is, if the very same culture is messed up by the people who are supposed to protect it, what about the other people? It is an uncomfortable issue to discuss, but it's high time. Let us hold the bull by its horns. Mazie. No, we cannot allow our children to be so abused. We cannot, not by the very same people who are supposed to be protecting the very same culture. Ndicela ootata bake bahlale phantsi bathethane. Xa inhliziyo yakho inde, bakopa abantu begcwele apha endlini kuwe. Hlala nabo ke ungakhupha omnye utshintsho omnye if abantu babantu impahla yangaphansi. No, I think masithethe nje openly apha ngoku. We can even discuss it at gender committee. Kodwa yona, when we talk of culture, sicela ukubuza into kokubana what is the stand of amakhosi in as far as abusing this custom and culture yobana uzeke lo mntana uthi ngumfazi wakho, the next thing uyamlahla pha phandle uthatha omnye. Number 2, bazekwa abantwana babantu bagcwala indlu. Bahlala apha bonke. Kuthiwe ngabafazi. There come the times God decides to take le ndoda. Le family bilapha ubuyiphekela. Uyityisa uzanethi kuyo. They know into kokubana there were things that were supposed to have been done. And as it is not your responsibility as the wife to do those things. It is the responsibility of otata bekhaya to do those things. Bangazenzi. The day indoda yakho ingekho kuthiwa hayi bengenamfazi okhoyo ngosesikweni, hayi bumhlola wani nalona esikuwo. Then the disputes ziqale ke ngoku. Ziqale disputes. That is the culture that is supposed to be protected by abantu abazinkosi. It's high time let us hold the bull by its horns, because the culture i-abuser abantu abangomama abagcwele kweli khaya. So ndiyacela komiti ye-TCC into kokubana makungathiwa into kokubana kuthiwe hayi ingxaki yakwaDlomo asizuya kuyo. And yet le ngxaki yakwaDlomo, it affects the entire institution and it gives the institution a bad name. So ndiyayicela into yobana mayijongwe ibone into yobana ingahandlishwa njani ngabantu abafanele ba-protector this custom and culture. In closing, Chair, coming to the issue in this ballet. Thank you, Chair. Hi. Thank you. I was talking about this issue of GBV. Thank you.
Siyabonga Nkosi Ngonyama. Princess Khabu.
Ke a leboga modulasetulo. Tota re leboge report ya committee eno. I think, Honorable Chair, this is arguably one of the most important committees, if one could say so, that is tasked with ensuring that what establishes or what validates the institution is preserved. May we should commend honestly the work that's been done given the challenges that are there. We know that we are not really a funded institution, and the progress that's been made, we should give kudos where it is due. However, I just want to highlight the issue of education, which seems not to be coming out of that committee. And this is one issue that we really need to zoom into as an institution. So I'm just putting forward, Chair, that the committee we would like to hear more on the programs or on education from the committee, as well as consultations with relevant government departments and organizations. You know, when we speak about issues like harmful cultural practices, we know that we are always attacked as an institution. And therefore, I believe that this committee is the relevant structure to be proactive in igniting those conversations with other stakeholders. Yes, I think that for now, that will be all. Thank you.
Thank you, Princess.
Ngiyabonga sihlalo. Kuncane nje kakhulu ebengizocela ukuthola ekomidini noma ukupropose ukuthi booklet le ngivumelana nayo acting chair ukuthi bekungakuhle ukuthi ku-encourage wonke ama-traditional leaders ukuthi akhulume ngemvelaphi yawo ngoba iyona nto leyo ezodala ukuthi even lezinto zama-disputes zikwazi ukuthi sizigweme uma kuwukuthi i-history yobukhosi yakhiwe iphelele ipreserviwe ngo-original leso sizwe naleso sizwe namaye nezithethe zawo nje badesho nje usihlalo wekomiti. Enye kube yileyo ukuthi amabutho ezizwe zamakhosi ongathi singa-encourage lo ukuthi amabutho siwagqugquzele ngoba yilapho abantu inkosi ikwazi ukuxhumana khona nesizwe sayo. Yilapho futhi abantu bekwazi ukuthi imiyalezo eminingi ikwazi ukudlulela esizweni. Ama-committees amaningi anayo inkinga yokuthi afinyelela kanjani kubantu ngezindlela ehlukahlukene, but le yokuthi kubothwe amabutho ezizwe zamakhosi information idlula kalula, cishe bathola bonke abantu ngoba abantu basayithanda into enjengaleyo. Eyogcina ke sihlalo mhlawumbe kube leyo ukuthi le yama-heritage sites mhlawumbe singajabula ukuthola ukuthi mhlawumbe sisubmitha kanjani, isubmitha kwi-committee noma khona iform ethile egcwaliswayo ukuze ukwazi ukuthi usubmithe leyo heritage site osuke ikhona endaweni yenkosi. Bekuyiloko nje sihlalo. Ngiyabonga.
Manibonga makhosi for input zenu. Ngizothi nje ndithi uba nizokhumbula makhosi ndandaba kwethu meeting apho ndandisithi ndicela eligama lika-education livele kulaa komiti uba le komiti iyakhohlwa ukuthi ino-education ngoba eligama is not included phaa kwathiwa hayi noba likho bazokubona bazawukhumbula ukuthi mabasebenze. I remember very well kuba bendiyibona kade yiminyaka lesimane siyi-reminded kodwa if the name appears then they will remember ukuthi no, they've got this lo msebenzi wenantsika we-education. So I'm with the princess, my value education, and it is very important for us to prioritize it. But we seem to forget it because it doesn't appear with Gamale committee. I'm sure we'll allow e-committee to respond.
Thank you, Chair. I think quickly, the booklet. I don't see any harm in getting the booklet covering all members of the House. I think it's a simple thing. The suggestion on dealing with the members of the committee was that maybe Amalungu may not like the things, but then we will then talk to Mr. Maloban to actually extend the issue of booklet to all members. Then on the issue of the indigenous games, Uguti, what is it that they seek to achieve? It's actually bringing back imidlalo, especially abantwaneni that abantwana balibale ukudlala kunokulibala kuyodla ama-drugs and bagxile kwizinto zabo because the indigenous games were their games and zazibanceda because as a games, not only games, but there is kind of education behind ukudlalwa ukwazo. So ukupromothwa kwazo ke kwenzela ukuthi abantwana babantu abamnyama bayazi ukuthi thina sabantu abamnyama sidlala unoChelesi, thina sabantu abamnyama sidlala intonga, so that abantwana bamakhwenkwe endaweni babuya esikolweni bacinga ukuyodla i-drugs but bacinga ukuthi makasiyene esigangeni siyodlala intonga. Zonke ezo zinto zilungisela loo nto ukuthi abantwana, especially abantwana babantu abamnyama bayazi uba izinto zabo are these ones. Then le ithethwa nguNkosi uSahluli yokupromothwa kwenkundla, the Khotlas. I think I agree with him. We can then try to populate it ukuthi endaweni zethu sisebenzise inkundla zethu kunoba sebenzise ezinto ziphucukileyo, but sigxile ekuthini we have our own Khotlas that we need to make them popular instead. The language Khoi-San, yeah, indeed, I agree with that. We need to ngoba noba sithetha nge-recognition of the Khoi-San people, but in language we'll talk less about the promotion of the Khoi-San languages, though we talk more on popularizing of Khoi-San again. So I think we need to work more on that one as a committee as well. Well, that will be in line with the languages that Chairperson must be promoted. We cannot, noba siyathanda, noba sithanda, funeka siphumile kule nto yesisingesi sihlala. Angumfanekiso omhle ufika in a boardroom where there's all members of the committee, only black members of the committee, omisuke eLimpopo, omisuke eFree State, kodwa funeka sithethe isingesi. Sisithethela bani isingesi? Isisithethela bani? Uba sise-boardroom, siyi-committee in a boardroom, why umuntu ongenothetha language yakhe ongevanga akhwethe omnye hayi kule ndawo besithi omnye andivanga kule ndawo omnye amcacisele. If ndithetha something uPrincess Khaba akayivanga ngakhwetha uNkosi uShinga, uNkosi uShinga ezenguni uzothi hayi ngesinguni kodwa ngesisuthu nje, but we will end up severe. Now ibona phaa kumzwezi insizwa mosibonke oShirwale nobantu, but they all understand each other bekhuluma different languages. I think it's high time that we sigxile kule nto languages zethu, so inceda le nto ungathethi languages zethu. We know we all been to school, but hey, masithethe languages zethu asinceda loo. I think le nto customary marriages, uNkosikazi Nobongo unyanisile, we need to lena ke sihlalo inid ixesha le, because abantu banezimvo ezahlukileyo kule, neenkosi zinengcaciso nezimvo ezahlukileyo kule nto yokutshata abafazi abanga, then emveni koko wathi ekugqibeleni kube kuthiwa kukona kuyotshatwa owekhaya umfazi, sewunabayi-5 abakhona, xa sekufika lo bonke they are reduced. So but it's a very big debate because into kwenza nobukumkani nobukhosi, and ngoku inid ixesha yona siyibambe nyani ke inkunzi ngempondo on that one. Le ke Nkosi uShinga ye-heritage sites, sasithe must identify inkosi zibhale, let's say ezakho eziphansi kwenqila kwaShinga uziliste, then sizithumela apha eNational House, then xa sifika apha ezo list iNational House iyabazi abantu ke ngokunana kwa arts and culture, kwa sports, arts and culture aba-relevant kule nto yokucategorize the heritage sites. I think, Chairperson, those were the response from the questions that were posed. And ingacela ke into yoba i-House i-adopte i-report the-TCCE as a report of the House for further implementation. Thank you very much.
Any second?
Ndizawusekhonda Chair le report, kodwa phambi kokuba ndiyisekhonde, ukuba bendizenzela iSouth Africa iyeyam, bendizawuthi makube ne-moratorium apha ekuzekeni xa kusezawuxoxwa ngabantwana bethu, kungatshatwa de idebate igqitywe, because as long as idebate ingekagqitywa abantwana baya abuswa ebukhosini. I so wish we could talk in one voice. Say, okay, fine. While the debate is still gonna to be pursued, let us then have a moratorium executing. But it is unfortunate. Ngoba kwathina singxamela uzeko kunjalo nje singxamile nje ukwenda side sifune ne-shortcuts that are too detrimental even nakuthi at some point. Kodwa ke bendizawuthi mina ndiyacela usihlalo lo wekomiti makube ne-time frame kule komiti into yobana when do they intend starting the debate. Iqale kule ndawo ecinga into yobana ukuba looking at the statistics ukuba ngabesuthu abathanda abafazi abaninzi mayiqale pha kubo. Uba ngamaXhosa athanda abafazi abaninzi mayiye kubo. Uba ngamaZulu athanda abafazi abaninzi mayiye kubo. Because as long as we don't start this debate, our children are being abused by as royal institutions, and it's very disheartening. Chair, I adopt their second adoption with time frames in as far as this matter is concerned. Thank you.
Nkosi Ngonyama, sizawubiza the next ikomiti elandelayo ngoku. Sikwikomiti elandelayo ndibona isandla sikaNkosi uNkosi Mahlangu, ndibona isandla sakhe apha. Ndizotsho nje nento ethi niyazi lento yentetho ine-attitude goes a long way kwinto ye-language. I-attitude leya kuba uyithatha njani umuntu ungafuni umamela nje. Bona isandla sakho Nkosi kuba singena kwikomiti elandelayo ke ngoku. Nkosi Mahlangu.
Ihle ma yokubandlulula abomama lo ucala umama umthethe kanjani. Uthe ekugcineni sekuyabuya uyogconya enkosini, uthatha enkosini umbeka phambi kwalomkhulu. I-wrong leyo nto. Umfazi ovunule kokucala uye umfazi omkhulu. Noma ungayoconywa nguloya wasemkosini, womncane wayenkosini. Cala musa. Mawuvunulisa abefazi, ukuvunula ngesikhathi. Uyangena, uyalotshola abakwenzela amasiko. Umfazi omkhulu noma ningathathwa ngelanga lethu wena mawuzibona ukuthi ufuna ukuthatha abefazi lo ongene ekuqaleni kokuthoma ongene eminyango kokuthoma nguye umfazi omkhulu. Le into ukuthi kuyongena omunye le uyise unempalene ngenkosi. No, ayihlali njalo mama, lapho ifuze ihlaliswe. Umfazi omkhulu ngowende kokucala. Finish enhlala. Leyo kuthi omunye angene usela umkhulu kulaba. No, leyo into siyane total. Njengoba sikhuluma ngamasiko nje ngama-heritage site. Thina le kwaNdebele sinomraro. Kunomuntu le ukhamba beka abantu endaweni zamanye amakhosi. Njengalena koRusenekali kubekwe bathi kunomuntu sizwa kubekwe inkosi endaweni yakwamabhongo. Endaweni ezinye lapha kuVerina khanje kubekwa amakhosi, ngapha eBrongoro ngapha kubekwa amakhosi. Angazi ukuthi umbuso uyakwazi lokho. Njengoba sikhuluma ngama-heritage nje, le heritage liyasele bayithethe uba kwamabhoko bathini bayoba kuphi bona. Sinenkinga enjalo Ndlubaba uSithole. Le mdeni yazi iyeza iya-Tkla iyeza into le kusazokuliwa lapha kwaNdebele. Iyas-affecta nami ngisemlwaneni wakwaNdebele. Nami ngapha eGauteng babeka amakhosi amabili. Yebo. Into leyo niyibona izosiphambanisa sazokulwa sishe. Mara mina noma ngingafa ngisakuwani ngiyena. Ngikhulile khona kusengilwela abendaba manje. Into leyo niyicaphele. Bethele ngiyabonga.
Ndabezitha. Ayisibongile Nkosi. Into ke ekufanele ukuthi makhosi sibheke yona masikhuluma. Angithi ke siyaqala sicela usihlalo wekomiti ondlale inkulumo le committee. Sithi masikhulumeni ke ngalokho sekondlalile. Sibe siyaphinda siyamcela usihlalo wekomiti ukuthi ivale ke manje sihlalo. Siyacela mase faka isikhiya usihlalo wavala wasekwa. Sibe sesidlulele kwelandelayo ngoba laba bacoshayo lapha babhalayo kuzawuhlangana. Ngoba sesingene ngoku kwenye ikomiti lena ingxoxo singazi izoba phakathi koyiphi ikomiti neyiphi ngoba sivalile ngala asikavuli ngala ngoku ingxoxo yakho ingene apho kuzawungena kuphi kahle siyabonga Nkosi kodwa lento ikhulumayo iya kule nto ithethwa yinkosi uNobhongo kuba ngoba uthetha ngokwena uthetha ngobana ngokwazi kwakho ngokwendawo yakho uthi isiphansi kaNkosi Nobhongo mawuqale kule ndawo into eyenzeka khona kakhulu apho sawubona khona ukuba kwenzekalani kanti siniyeke nisaqhuba kahle siye kule ndawo ikhalazayo masidlule ke makhosi malunga beke kule ndiqaphela ukuthi bekutshiwo izolo abekhona ama-officials ebejoyine virtual from the department yesterday andikhayo nangona amagama akhange wathole andazi namhlanje kodwa izolo bekhona bengene virtual ngoba ama-official amaninzi ngoku angena ngo-virtual amanye asebenza from home andazi ke namhlanje nditsho kule nto kamakhosi ebesitsho sithi awazi nobana awabonakala ama-officials asanoba khona nakhona virtual namhlanje ndibiza ikomiti eli le-land Rural Development and Tourism Committee ikomiti elikhokhela ngosihlalo uNkosi uGumede kodwa ke ikhona inkosi eceliweyo ukuthi isikhokhele ngoba yena ungumnye wabantu abaconnecta virtually uNkosi uKekana nguye ozosikhokhela olilunga lekomiti kuwe Nkosi Kekana.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Madam Acting Chair. Greetings to the Honorable House, members of the Executive Committee, chairpersons of committees, members, our support staff, the CEO, who's leading our support staff. I greet you. Chairperson, on behalf of the committee and the chairperson, I present the quarterly report for the Committee Land, Rural Development and Tourism. One is the background. I won't go through the background. Two is the composition of the committee. I won't go through that. Three is the quarterly report. 3.1 Chairperson is the input on policies, bills, and legislation. The Joint Justice and Land Committee met to consider and made input on the following policies, bills, and legislation. 1, Land Court Bill. 2, Communal Land Tenure. 3, Land Administration and Land Tenure Reform in Communal Land. All inputs are attached for consideration and noting by the House and members. 2, promotion of food security. Consideration of the following reports: Benin report, Botswana report, Uganda report, and the Matsile report. The committee recommended that this report should be shared with members of the House in order to learn best practices. 3, promotion of cultural tourism. Engagement with the Department of Tourism in order to learn its program that can be used to promote cultural tourism in the areas under the jurisdiction of traditional leaders. The promotion of cultural tourism is done jointly with the Heritage and Culture Committee. Such engagement will still to take place in due course, as we are still waiting for the date from the Deputy Minister of Tourism and the Portfolio Committee on Tourism. So it's an ongoing program, Chair. 4, Invest Rural Program. Planning meetings, the committee resolved that all members of the committee should participate in the Invest Rural Tax Team. Remember, Chairperson, firstly, it was only the tax team. Now the committee has decided that to beef up that tax team, members of the Land Committee should also participate in the Invest Rural Tax Team. And as a result, members indeed participated in that tax team, Invest Rural in the Northern Cape and in KZN. Roadshow in different provinces. Roadshow to the province, no, roadshows are conducted as it is contained in the Invest Rural program, Chairperson. The task team, it's moving around the provinces doing these roadshows. So it's an ongoing process. 5, crime prevention. The committee was leading on the consultation on the draft integrated crime and violence prevention strategy. Members participated in the consultation on the draft integrated crime and violence prevention strategy by the Civilian Secretariat for Police Services on the 6th of August, 2021. For us joined the activities. 4.1 members of the House participated in the joint COCHA and ESCO meeting on the 5th of July 2021 for tabling of the quarterly report. 2 members attended a special tribute to the late chairperson of the House, Unkosi S. Imahlangu, on the 19th of July 2021 to map up a way forward in preparation of the funeral. 3 members attended the joint and the chairperson's forum on the 19th, the same date, to discuss the memorial service of the late chairperson of the House. 4 members of the House participated in the consultation of the draft integrated crime and violence prevention strategy by the Secretariat for Police on the 6th of August 2021. 5 members participated in Women in Local Government Dialogue on the 10th of August 2021. 6, the Department of Communication and Digital Technologies developed a draft policy and policy direction on rapid deployment, electronic communication and facilities, and engaged members on its policy on the 18th August 2021. 7, the committee held a joint Justice and Land Committee meeting on the 16th August 2021 to discuss the Land Codes Bill. 8, the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development consulted members of the Eastern Cape House of Traditional Leaders and Khoi-San leaders on the 2nd September 2021 in East London ICC. The consultation was on communal tenure and land administration. 9, members of the House attended a webinar on transformation, fighting GBVF with houses and traditional leaders, and enabling food security in traditional communities, which was held on the 7th of September 2021. Work that still need to be done by the committee as item 5.1, implementation of the program of fencing of land under traditional leaders. 2, Invest Rural Awareness Campaign to the local houses of traditional and Khoi-San leaders in all provinces. 3, joint awareness campaign with the Gender and Social Development Committee on GBVF in local government, in local houses of traditional leaders and Khoi-San leaders. 4, resuscitation of committee forums to fast-track information sharing and update. 5, Land Summit. It's a matter that is long overdue, Chairperson. I cannot dwell on much on that. It's a well-known matter. Challenge with the Communal Property Association. this matter is also a thorny issue, the issue of the CPAs. We all know what is happening with regard to these CPAs because they are so very much problematic. Number 6, recommendation, Chairperson. It is recommended that the House consider the quarterly report of the Land, Rural Development and Tourism Committee and advise accordingly. Thank you, Chairperson.
Enkosi, siyabonga Nkosi Kekana. Siyabonga. Chairperson of the committee did join, but he had he did join virtually, but now he had another commitment. Rena Mulo is there in the platform. Let's allow the members to debate on the committee report. Siyabonga Nkosi for the report. It's appreciated. Nkosi Ngonyama.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think we all have rules with us. Page 26. I would like to bring to the attention of Amalungu on the following. Rule 88, subsection 1, lists all the committees of the House. Then subsection 3 reads as follows. A committee may establish a subcommittee, full stop. A subcommittee of a committee may A, consist of members of the committee only, or B, an ad hoc technical committee and may consist of members of the committee and outside experts. 4, an ad hoc technical committee may be established to deal with a specific matter that requires expert knowledge. It dissolves when it has reported on that matter, unless the committee decides to disestablish it earlier. 5, I'm going to jump 5. I'm zooming straight to 6. A subcommittee is accountable to its parent committee. I'm reading out this aloud because there's a point that I'm trying to drive at. We have a Royal Invest Committee. It is too wide in as far as the issues are being dealt with. But if you look at one of the KPAs, going through the booklet, you'll find in Dogobana, we do also have land issues, agriculture, this and that. Now, the question that I would like me to be assisted with, maybe some other members would also like to be assisted on the same, is that in my belief, I had thought in Dogobana, this ad hoc committee, because it's not listed under A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, I. Let me end at I. It be found by in a operator in terms of 88 subsection 6. But ke ngoku iyabonakala into okubana ikhona ukuhamba okungadibaniyo. Kusenzeke ngoku mna as the member of the land committee namanye amalungu sibe nento ethi kukhona ukuqhwalela. Number 2, resolutions that are adopted by that committee, which we believe into okubana we are operating in terms of Rule 6, 88 subsection 6. Into okubana we work with a main we are the parent committee. If we are mistaken, can we be corrected? And then after being corrected, can we be told into okubana what is the parent committee of the ad hoc committee. Mhlambe siyaphazama. Masincediswe apho. Enkosi Chair. Senze into okubana kube khona apho izaba accountable khona. We do understand and move, we appreciate, we embrace it. But the problem is now yesterday a report was made that some members were listed from the ad hoc committee. It's Khoi-San Tkla, it's Honorable Khoi-San, it's Honorable Nkosi Gumede. Then we have adopted some members, then nameless members. They were not named. And ke ngokuzibuza into okubana angaba adoptwe members zale zeyiphi committee and on which lo committee ngaba yi-parent committee na. So ndiyacela mna into mhlawumbe ndidum ndicela uba ndike ndilungiswe ndisikulwe apho. Thank you.
Nobongo uthi Nkosi Nobongo ngwana ke mang motswadi ke mang ndenza nje ubana kube ever amanye amakhosi. Oh, all right, Nkosi yami, all right.
Chair, with due respect, what Nkosi Ngonyama is saying, it's absolutely true. We are of the view that this ad hoc committee, anything that they are doing, they should come back to the committee and report to the committee. And their report should be consolidated with our report as a committee and table it as one report from the land committee. So we are surprised the rural task team, the Invest Rural Task Team has its own report and the land committee has its own report. And at the same time, we're talking one and the same thing. So it is our view that this ad hoc committee should have come and table their report in the committee and consolidated their report with ours and table it as one report, as one consolidated report. Thank you, Chairperson.
Very much. It's very interesting, this discussion, because as I'm looking at you, some of you are members of both task team and also Invest Rural. So, and in a normal situation, kufanele ba nike nayithi nikhulume nodwa kuba nonke nikhona phaya. And I was also informed ukuthi bandiyaphazama ukuthi all the members the land committee ziginywe Invest Rural ngene phakathi Invest Rural. So senze ukuthi kodwa ke noba ningenanga nonke kodwa bekufanele nina abakhoyo phaya nike nayihlangana this is not correct and ndiyabona wrong in a normal way it discussed kakuba nibona njani kodwa kunizisa ngokuthi ehousing which is still correct uzisa housing kuba yethu sonke vele. Khoi-San Tkla, I see your hand. Princess bani Nkosi yo that was told ndicele ndingenisa wona ngingenisa amakhosi Khosi Khasiboni.
Person, maybe this ad hoc committee, I've seen here in the report that the committee resolved that all members of the committee should participate in the investorial task team. Now I was wondering that all the committee members want to participate in the committee in the task team, all the committee members. So I'm answered that maybe there is something that the committee is not satisfied, it's not comfortable about, that the other task ad hoc committee and task team, they're not, the investorial task team are not reporting to them. So I'm answered, thank you, ma'am. If that's the case.
On a point of privilege, Chair, ndiyacela ngozithoba masike simiyeke lo mntaka Mroka. No, ndicela nive point yami. Ndicela kuphendule i-administration yiyo lisenzela lesixabanisayo soba ngathi uPrincess Moroka thina one problem nathi. Bayazi kahle we've been raising this. They sit in our committees. We don't sit alone. We've been raising this, I don't know since when. Kodwa when the task team is meeting, they choose the eggs then they start this animal farm situation. I've got a problem now with that. So one, which is the parent committee? One, is it land committee, or is it gender committee, or social committee, or executive? Once that is addressed, then we might be talking here, Auntie. This doesn't even belong to this particular committee that we sit at. Might explain, but now even to say the land committee members are part of the Invest Rural, how? Because at a meeting of Invest Rural, all the members should be there. It doesn't even need a sheep or a goat to be sorted.
Mama Khosi ndicela mna apha sithetha nge-task team Invest Rural ne-land committee ndicela sikhuphe i-executive. Siza confuse izinto apha because apha sithetha nge-task team eyayikhunyulwe yi-house, sithetha ngekomiti yethu ye-house. These are two things. Akho ndifake executive kule nto sithethayo uba sifuna uconfuse izinto. Tata Sithole ibuyela ikhona into ezapha kuwe ke just uku-explain ukuthi wena nina yintoni icaca uba nina anidibanisayo kule nto because we can't siniyeke ningaziphenduleli uba kwenzeka ntoni.
Sorry, Chair. I'm just quickly checking if censorship is allowed to say so and so must not speak and so can speak. We can't work like that. We are not in a tavern here.
Thank you, Khosi. Siyabonga Nkosi. Thank you for reminding us.
I appreciate the comments by Khosi. I withdraw the comment of saying she must.
Can you allow to be led? Lawuleka nkosikazi. Ungathetha bufuna uthini ke? Bufuna uthini?
Chair, I hear the comment and it's very valid. So I withdraw the comment about Masmia Gumtakam Rock. Thank
you. CEO, ndicela kwicala administration eli likukhonjwa kulo liphendule lisixelele uba lazi ntoni. It's not about uba sithi sinibeke palisive nje uba on your side.
Yeah, Chairperson, thank you. It's just that duty iphazamisekile kancane. Inkosi nayithi ngithi ama-officials esixabana samakhosi. Ingiphazamisile nje kancane. Because sicabanga ukuthi siyasebenza kanti silwisa amakhosi. It's not correct. If silwisa amakhosi, we must then be corrected ukuthi ningayenzi lento nikhosa i-division phakathi kwamakhosi, nikhosa amakhosi ukuthi alwe. Tina, we thought we were supporting and because of confusion or conflict part of my course. So it was not our intention. However, Chair, let's look at what is Invest Rural. Now, you see, once we're able to define what Invest Rural is, we will know in which committee does it belong. And we'll be able to determine the mother committee of the Invest Rural. Now, Invest Rural is composed of a number. I'm going to mention each and every program that is in the Invest Rural. From there, then, the leadership, which is members of the National House, but decide where does Invest Rural lies. One, the Invest Rural deals with renewable energy. Now, we need to package with the renewable energy belonging to which committee. Two, roads and transportation, water, sanitation, telecommunication, financial inclusion, education and training, health, agriculture, tourism, retail, manufacturing, rural enterprise development. Those are the main programs as we Invest Rural. Now the question is, where does Invest Rural belong to? Having looked at all this, with our responsibilities, in which committee do they fall? They fall to the entire house. because they cover a variety of industry. And the request or the decision that was taken by land committee was taken straight to both Invest Rural Task Team and the executive committee. Land and Agriculture Committee said, we want all members of this committee to be members of a task team. We took that as officials because it was written in the minutes and in the decision matrix. We took it to Invest Rural Task Team and we took it to Executive Committee and it was agreed. You know, Kunya Chairperson work for words. But we did exactly what the committee said we must do. Now here the question that is coming is, where does it belong? I don't know. The House must decide where it belongs. I just mentioned the number of programs that are there in the Invest Rural Master Plan, Chairperson. And I've mentioned since a committee took that decision was communicated and accepted, which was communicated by the officials who were attending that meeting where agriculture took that decision. Hence, Khosikekan and Limren Alifa were part of the delegation that went to Northern Cape. Nkosikekan was part of the delegation that went to KZN. Yet he was not in the initial task team Naitoma where Invest Rural. So that's exactly meaning the decision that was taken at committee level already was implemented by that time. So Chairperson, I would have suggested maybe see pause kancane size sifike kule workshop yama rules bese siyayihlahlela ke lento sihlahlele kahle sihlahlele nje sihlahlele yonke, then come up with a decision. Would you see Invest Rural wide as it is, it has a home in this committee or it does not have a home at all? That is what I would say, but I cannot stand here and say it belongs to this committee. I don't know. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Just when you send us exactly what I said. But we're informed that all members of this development committee are the members of I have joined Invest Rural Task Team. So you are all there as a committee. And as long as you question, it was coming from the committee. The Princess then when first, all right.
No, Chair, I'm just pleading with the members to let us avoid unnecessary disagreement. There was a proposal from Kosi Nobongo that we must just have a 10-minute caucus after the session. So can I just ask that we refer that matter there without cameras and stop, disagreeing here, please.
For the House?
Yes, Chair. We will just be briefing you on the work that was done within the past 36 hours.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Advocate Princess, so the hands now, so will be sorted after. Princess, I still see your hand. When you send, still your hand is still.
Yes. I'm just wondering, Honorable Chair, if I'll be doing justice by parking the matter that has already been put on the table. And likewise, I'd like to follow in the footsteps to say, let it not be about Umtana Kamrok. Let it not be about the personality, but about the committee. If we can all remember when this committee started, our belated chairperson, Nkosi Mahlangu, it was in the executive committee that he announced the committee. the task team. And he even said, I don't know if other members remember, but he said the chairperson of the committee is a member of the executive because the committee should be that's why he was basically co-chairing with me. I was not doing, he was my co-chair, if I could call it that, of the task team. Maybe, I don't know if other members of the executive remember. And subsequent to that, Mama, he also said he brought in the chairperson of the land committee and Nkosi Nzanusi being the chairperson of planning and internal arrangement. Also taking into consideration the fact that Invest Rural touches on all committees. In fact, if I was to make a decision, I would have said, then it would mean each and every committee must be represented within the task team. So I just wanted to put it on the table for further discussion in our caucus. Thank you, Chair.
Princess, so let's wait for the caucus. I'm not sure what time we have the caucus. What time is suggested for this caucus?
Apologies, Chair, because you are just hearing this issue of caucus, by the way. There's just one issue there. We just need to brief the members before they go home in terms of what you had mandated us to do, so that we tell. So we were just going to request 5 to 10 minutes at most. So we don't need anything more than 15 minutes, Chair. Yeah.
After all reports.
Yes, after all reports, not now, when we are done. Yes.
Let's resume back to a discussion of committee, debate committee, because it was just one issue we're talking about. Any other issues from this report? Makhosi khona kunyani ufuna ukutsho enzela ubana singathi sesivalile nive mva niphinde ningene. Any other issue on this report? Nkosi Ngonyama.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm not sure whether this is going to fall under this report or under item 5.8. There was a communication that was sent some time ago by the, where is this report now? By the department of Dr. Da, that had required some projects to be from the House members, from the members of the House, so that they assist those rural communities. I think that's one aspect that is missing from our report. It is unfortunate that we meet once in a while, and sometimes when we meet, we make an omission of not starting from where we left, which I would term matters arising. So especially with the COVID challenges, we have experienced that a lot. So on that note, without pointing a finger to anyone, I would like us to also, when we look into these matters of this report, we ensure as to what progress has been made in as far as identifying what was requested by the Department of Dr. Da. And what I appreciate mostly is that they wanted to assist with the rural communities. So if now we are not coming on board as people who are leading in rural communities, then it means we are failing the people back home. So even if it's not this time, when we meet during the House. Now I'm proposing, because an announcement has been made that there will be a workshop. Can we, on that particular workshop, add this particular one item of knowing as to how far we have gone in as far as identifying what needs to be presented or to the Department of Rural Development? Thank you, Chair.
Very much. I don't think it can even wait for a workshop that information, if possible, we can get it even before. Any other input, Marcos? Khona ukuthi okunye enifuna ukukutsho. Back to you. Oh, Nkosi Shinga.
Chair, I just wanted the clarity on the program of crime prevention. Of what does it contain? Because it's just closed here. If I may ask, does it contain anything concerning the stock theft in the rural communities that is very prevalent, and if it is not prevented, by all means, it will lead to community unrest, and it's a very serious issue. People are stealing cows and goats, sheep, everything, everywhere. And also the safety of the agricultural farm properties or farming communities. Does it also cover those areas? Thank you, Chair.
I'm sure we need to see more programs, clear programs of committees, other than event or invitations by other stakeholders. Although we know that we don't have the budget, but at least let's have our own clear programs. Which we have done this. We were supposed to do this, but we couldn't do it. But I'm sure chairperson of the committee will respond on the issue to have been raised. Back to you, Nkosi Kekan. Oh, I see, Nkosi Hasbun.
I was just, I've experienced something here, Modesto. But in all the committees that has been reporting, the item of joint activities with the other national house members, it appears in all the reports. So it's the same thing, appears in all the reports. So I was saying that maybe the coming person who's going to report, who's going to discuss the report of the coming committee, must not go through this part, joint activities with the other national house members. I was just saying that because I realized that all who reported, this part is there. Item number 4 is there. So just saying, I'm making the house aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kosi. So yeah, they'll just indicate that there are those joint activities. Kosi Kakan.
Thanks, Chairperson. Although I'm not the chairperson of the committee, Chairperson, but I'll try to answer some questions. More especially on the question that was asked by my Honorable Nkosi Shinga on the issue of the crime prevention strategy. Chairperson, remember the crime prevention strategy, it entails stock theft. It also entails the issue of tribal policing, I can call it so. It also entails the issue of, remember we've even asked the police to erect satellite police stations in our rural communities. So that is the strategy we're talking about, Nkosi Shinga. It involves your stock theft, your traditional police. Remember, we were talking about the issue of Nkosi Mkasha just now. I think it will fall under that crime prevention strategy, so that the police can assist in terms of security for Nkosi Mkasha. So, Chairperson, I think maybe other members can answer because I'm not the chairperson of this committee. I'm just a member. I was requested to present the report. So if there's any addition from members, they can proceed. Thanks, Chairperson.
May I propose, Chair, that we deal with this item under the Justice, Crime Prevention and Security Committee? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The way I understand the response is because you can't talk about rural development where there is a high crime rate. So that's why that's why he is mentioning that. So also we'll discuss about it more and more than in that committee as suggested. But for us to be comfortable in farming, whatever we're doing, really issues of crime must be considered. So that committee is still relevant to work with the Committee on Justice, Crime and Crime Prevention. We are there, Chair, waiting for you to move for the adoption.
Thank you, Chairperson. I move for the adoption of the report of Land Committee. Thanks.
Savannah, Khoi-San, Hasboni.
Tkla.
Now your report of the Land Committee has been adopted. Now you are free to implement your plans. Thank you. Let's go to Justice and Crime Prevention Committee. Nkosikazi Ngonyama.
Thank you, Chair, Honorable Chair, and honorable members. As the chairperson of the committee, I wish to state that the report was tabled yesterday and now it's open for debate. But I would like to highlight some few items which I think it is imperative that as members of the House we debate them. But before we get into that debate, and I would like to, it's a pity Kgosi Makhura has gone out. He asked a question around traditional council and authority. Before I proceed, I would like just to get into that space and refer the honorable members to chapter 12 of the Constitution that deals specifically with traditional leaders.
Sorry, since the member who has raised the issues outside, really, I think maybe when he is back, you can just try to go back to that issue, because for him, he will still ask when he's back, ask Uti, you promised to respond, whereas we have already responded here. Continue with your reporting,
Thank you, Chair. I heed the advice. The other issue that I would like to touch on is the issue of the crime that has been. Okay, let me just zoom straight to the report, because it was the question that was asked by Nkosi Mthuli. Chair, in our report item 1 talks about the consideration of policies, bills, and legislation. We, as the House, we are mandated through the Act that all the bills that, some of the bills should go through the House for comments. It is worth mentioning that we deliberated on this matter because it seems as if we are the committee that is mostly dealing with bills, to a point that we proposed a name change to the name change of the committee. It was reported during our committee that that request was not accepted by the executive committee. We fully, in fact, let me not say fully because it was debated. There are members who were of the view that the bigger picture on this matter was not properly captured. I will leave that to them. The reason why I'm saying I'm leaving the issue to them, I wish to place on record that it did transpire that what was discussed was the fact that the committee is looking, what is being addressed was the issue of the future of the committee, not the current situation. So I fully accepted that on those bases, in that just because there are people within the House currently who are legal practitioners and who have got legal background, it doesn't mean when and the next term comes, there will still be people with those qualifications. So what then happens? Will the committee be changed again? So on that note, but be that as it may, some members were of the view that there should be a committee that becomes a parent to these bills so that they don't went missing in the process. I think they will dwell much on that. I believe that with our administration there and our advocate, they know exactly when a bill comes as to which policy, which committee that a bill should be tackled into. And if it's I would make an example. There was a bill on children's amendment. We deliberated as Justice Committee on that bill. But now for the inputs, I was reluctant personally, I was reluctant to handle this bill due to one reason. This is the bill that should fall into the Committee of Social Development. So I felt strongly that if it comes to a push, the process can even be restarted and the bill be handled by the relevant committee. The issue of the land bill is the land committee that should be dealing with it. If it comes to a push, then that particular committee can even restart the process so that the bills are scattered all around the committees. So on that note, Chair, I will leave this item to other committee members if they would like to input. But I personally believe that what the executive saw, I think I fully align with them to say, indeed, it should not be about a certain Ms. Moroka, who is an attorney, and that because she's an attorney in the committee, then even the name of the committee, because that came out strongly in our meeting as the land committee. Number two, there's an issue of SAJE. In terms of the South African Judicial Education Institute Act, one member to form a council should be a royal leader. So we don't go there just because we would like to be there, but it is the act so that says that would be part of that institution. I'm a member of that of the Council of SAJE. It was led then by former Chief Justice Mogoeng. I wish to place it on record that they have the best interests of this institution at heart. The last council meeting that we had was being the person now that is chairing is the acting Justice Zondo. So even the comments that were uttered during our council meeting, it literally showed that these are the people who have got the best interests of this institution at heart. The names of other judges who are there, the academia that are sitting in that council, they would literally like to assist the institution in as far as our needs, especially training needs, are concerned. Now, coming to this issue of training, during the start of the term, I think it was 2018, 2019, the CEO of the House, Dr. G, and I went to various provinces to introduce this issue of training. But now it didn't move from the ground. Most of the provinces cited the issue of budget as the handicap towards the training. It is worth mentioning, Chair, that we are literally missing a very important aspect in as far as this training is concerned. We still handle cases in our areas as royalty. And some cases, when the people appeal, they are thrown out of court. It therefore puts our institution or our courts not in confidence kuyo kuba besithi throw out cases zethu. So they were literally affording us an opportunity, and they are laying themselves up into okubana bazawusinceda in as far as these trainings are concerned. There are a lot of trainings that we can be trained on. We've got land with mineral resources in our areas. We are allowed in terms of the act to establish bylaws in our area. So asifundanga ncam okanye ke sifundile sifunde izinto esingazazi into bana singazenza njani in terms of drawing the bylaws. So they were there to assist. I challenge ke Chair, we even proposed into kubana let us have a joint meeting as the DTA, SAJ, the House. Then we proposed further that let us rope in the LG-SITA. What was the reason behind roping in LG-SITA was due to the fact that Eastern Cape has set a precedent of applying through LG-SITA for a grant for the training. And the grant that has been extended to Eastern Cape was around 24 million. If at provincial level, they can have that kind of money or grant, how much more at national level? So we are still waiting for that particular meeting to be with the assistance of our administration to facilitate that meeting. I think sooner than later, we'll definitely be in a position to get a date. Dr. G, I must mention, Chair, Waiseke is proposing the dates, but so I'm calling upon our executives to ensure to secure a date with these stakeholders so that iron up the training that we need. Coming to item 3, Chair, of the report, it talks about challenges at the masters at the Master of the High Courts and Home Affairs. This is the matter that is very dear to the committee of the members of the committee. What has transpired is that most the people that suffers most in this aspect are the widows. Widows as a female was lost a spouse, especially those who are married in accordance with customary rights. When somebody passes on, there are 2 letters that are issued. One is a letter of authority, when your estate is below, is 250,000 and below. Then if it's above that, it's a letter of executorship. You can never start and administer that estate without those letters. There are people, I came across a case in the Eastern Cape where the husband of this lady passed on in 2014. That was the reason why I raised this matter in our committee. Up until today, that is 7, I'm not sure whether it's 2014 or 2011, but I think if it's not 9 years, it's 7 full years since the husband passed on. No letter has been issued. The problem is one. I personally went to the master's offices in Mthatha to investigate as to what is it exactly was happening with this estate. Then the assistant master told me that the challenge there is the fact that there is a dispute that this woman was the wife of the deceased. The point that was raised by the surviving spouse was, I presented all the evidence to show that I was the wife. One, the lobola letter that was the letter that was drawn between the families as the lobola. 2, the pictures of me ndisebenza kula mzi ndinxibe emajeremani with my family members, but still akubonakala into okubana I'm lying. Now the question that I raised was, if mna nditshate in accordance with civil union, ndine marriage certificate liyelo siyaziyo, ufike uMam Nomandla, our honorable acting chairperson, athi ibingengumfazi kaTata Ngonyama lo, why would the master proceed and issue a letter of appointment? Besithi bona no utshatile because une certificate somtshato. Why is it that when somebody produces a letter yelobola bazawubona into okubana ayifani? So it means in a nutshell that the marriage that is promoted and that is well recognized without any doubts and questions is the civil marriage. That's where the problem is. Fortunately, I'm excited to announce that an email came through on the 25th through our director, Miss Zungu, from the office of the chief master. The office would like to meet with us as the house, and they further even proposed the dates. In Dobana, they would like to meet us during the week of the 11th. I think it's the second week of November, proposing either a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So I'm happy to announce that we will definitely meet with the master, because when you go to these masters' offices, you find that we are treated differently. In another town, they do they accept. In another town, they do not. So if we sit with the master, with the chief master, he will then, as we present our case to him, if it's him or her, he will be able to gather all the masters in different provinces, and I think they will issue a directive of how to address this issue of inequality between the marriages in South Africa. So at least this one is happy. But the other thing that we recommended was that Home Affairs must be brought as an eye, because when they are pushed from the master's offices, Home Affairs to go and register their marriages. Home Affairs, they are told in Dogobana the window period for registration is closed. So they must go and approach a court in order the court to issue a declaratory order. The marriage. Where do they get the money from? So, but end up losing their benefits they were entitled as surviving spouses. So I think during that meeting, I'm making a call, Chair, during that meeting, second week of November, let Home Affairs also be present in that meeting. Fortunately, we work very close with Home Affairs as stakeholders in as far as we're crossing the country, Single Marriage Act. So I don't think it will be a problem for them to join us in that particular meeting. Okay, I've dealt with item 5. On the issue of the concept of reintroducing the community police officers, in other provinces, even there's a directorate in Joburg. Can you remind me? There's a directorate in Joburg that deals with a stakeholder, nationally. They always invite us in their programs. There's we introduce what I would call traditional community policing. Yeah, I think along those lines, indeed, I'm subject to be corrected. That was the move to show in Dogobana we are needed as the communities, and these people should work under the royal leaders in their respective areas. But what was discussed at length was in Dobana, we cannot be putting our imisebenzi yethu without any stipend, because apparently there's an issue of stipend. In a meeting that we attended, dialogue that we attended at the Eastern Cape, I heard that it's an issue that is discussed at national level, and it's already on the table. Hopefully, izawupasa, so that people who wants to participate in the as traditional community policies in police in their areas would be able to get a stipend. So I think it then addresses the question that was asked by Unkosi Shinga of saying, challenges that you are experiencing in rural communities in as far as crime is concerned. It is a common cause. We know there is a challenge of a number of police in our areas. Kodwa ke ndiyafuna uyivelela into yokubana ezinye izinto zifuna into yokubana sinathi sike sizimele as amakhosi into yokubana mazike zijonge. If you go to farm areas, ufumana into yokubana there's a van that patrol indawo zamafama without fail. Ufumana into yokubana there is a police station okanye a satellite police station that services ezandawo. But when it comes to rural communities, ufumana into yokubana nizawudibana nge-police station nizi-villages is about 30. Now the question is, how on earth would a police station A1 serve 30 villages that are scattered from each other? So iyafuna ke into yokubana nathi as we engage with our government in kwicala lakwa-SAPS siziveze ezi challenges so that they try to introduce satellite policies, satellite police stations, mobile police stations, bazame nokwandisa ke i-resources. Akho lula ke, we do understand. On that note, Chair, I think I will hand over to my colleagues who are members of that particular of the committee. Ubana bongeze apho ndishiye khona. Then after that, I will come and make a call of requesting that our report be adopted. Thank you.
Thank you, Nkosi Ngonyama. Ngebisha ke ngu-1 o'clock, and the restaurant has already reminded us ngesikhathi. So we'll be able to debate the report. We are going lunch because I don't want to do lento biyenzeke izolo. But before going for lunch, Makhosi, let me indicate amanye ama-officials azawuhamba kufuneka ehambile. Now just a few with us. Dr. Tkla and your team, let me indicate to you, Cimani incediseni utata manditsho kuwe Dr. Tkla ifikile kum ezindlebeni zami into ethi izolo aniphathekanga kahle. Ndizayithetha ngoku si-live because everything was happening live. Aniphathekanga kahle ngokuthi nithi nisithumelele i-document sithi thina ii-documents azikho. Kodwa nisithumelele ii-documents. So kwimedia kuvela ubana umsebenzi wenu aniwenzi. Yinto ke efikileyo kum ezindlebeni zami. So even today kuyabonakala ukuthi andiniboni ayiniphathe kakuhle into yobana sithi xa sithetha izinto sithi ikakhulu nini enisixabanisa utshilo phofu wena wathi akuphathi kakuhle. Asinawuthula ke ngolo nto because yenzeka apha ngoku si-live. Sitsho ukuthi nditsho ukuthi mandixolise on behalf of amalungu ngokuthi noko sinibona lingaphathekanga kahle, ngoba okanye noba ibikhona into erongo eyenzekileyo ihashe liyakhubeka nani niyaphazama. Kodwa siyaxolisa ukuthi kukho izinto ezinganiphathanga kakuhle kule sitting. Kwenzela uba nabanye abahambayo bahambe kakuhle besazi uba ndixolisile on behalf of members. Bakho into ezinganiphathanga kakuhle. Andizude ndibe ndiyayivula for debate, but just to say kuwe netim yakho siyaxolisa kwizinto ezingakhange zeniphathe kakuhle. Ngoba amaxesha amaninzi fanele siyaniprotecta ngoba siyayazi uba as house, i-officials e-house nisebenza phantsi koxinzelelo olunzima kakhulu, ngoba kaloku nani niripota kwabakhulu kunani. So siyaxolisa Jobe kakhulu kangoba uyitshilo apha phambi kwethu. So asinawuthula ndime endihle lapha kule ndawo utshilo ukuthi aniphathekanga kakuhle. Ndiyaxolisa kakhulu. Masiyene elantshini. Ilunch yethu izolo besithe sawuthatha 30 minutes. Na today ke sayibala sithi 30 minutes and let's say siphume nge-20 sophuma sobuya nge-25 to andithi okanye nge-22 yo nge-20 past 2 yeah Jobe let's adjourn for lunch.
All right, please.